Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, brothers and sisters in Islam. Welcome to my channel, The Muslim Apologist. I'm your host, MNJ, and this is part 2 of our session the other day, where we are going to make a reaction to this pseudo debate between the old fart, J. Smith, and the psychopath, David Wood. So in the first part, which was held 3 days ago, we addressed the issue that David Wood, the psychopath, made in his opening statement. Okay, we're going to just address the opening statements of both contestants. Okay, because we are not interested to go into the rest of their arguments. So today we are going to address J. Smith's arguments regarding
Old fart.
the old fart. Yes. So yeah, thank you again, brother Islamic calling, for joining me
Yeah.
in this session.
Assalamualaikum, everyone.
Yes, great to have
So it's
you.
nice to be
Yeah,
back.
of course, of course. Okay, before we start, of course, as usual, cue in intro. Okay, that's very important. All right, so we are back again. So shall we begin this session?
Yeah, sure. Let's get
All
to the
right.
circus.
Okay, let's continue the circus where we left off 2 days ago, right? Yeah. So yeah, I'm just going to share the video. I've already set it up. Okay, so yeah, so here he is. So here's the psychopath. Sorry, the old fart. Okay.
You're mixing them
But
up.
yeah, I'm mixing them up. Yeah, I mean, for me, it doesn't really matter who's the old fart and who's the psychopath, because both of them are exactly the same. They're just both, they're just different sides of the same coin, essentially.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, okay. So okay, now the old fart is going to prepare his show. So basically, he's a naysayer. Okay, basically he claims that he doesn't believe that the Prophet Muhammad does not exist. Yeah, and for me, this is really an idiotic claim to make. From someone who
Mhm.
made his whole career in evangelism,
Yeah,
bashing the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, because this guy spent like 20 years in Hyde Park, you know,
yeah,
tarnishing and insulting and demeaning the Prophet. And
yeah,
now in recent years, he's saying that the Prophet does not exist. So what happened to all those 20 years of? So it's totally irrational, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
it's
He
really,
just
yeah.
vanished.
Yeah, the 20 years career, evangelical career of bashing Islam because of the Prophet
Yeah.
Muhammad just vanished, and now he's saying that the Prophet does not exist. Okay,
Mm.
so okay. So what did he believe in before? I mean, what did he? No, what did he? His claims about the Prophet. What are they now? You see.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's play the video, right? Okay. So this is his opening statement. Okay.
All right, Jay, as soon as you're ready, you'll have your 20-minute response, 20-minute opening statement.
By the way, can you see the comments? Oh, yeah, there's one.
Yes, I think there's one comment here from Brother Sinotech.
Walaikum assalam.
Great.
Yes, Waalaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Well, I wish I could go right into the rebuttal, but we're going to have to do this first. So let's go right into it, and let's show you what and who this Muhammad is of the 7th century versus Muhammad of
The Sheikh
the
is
9th
going
to
to teach
10th
us.
centuries. Now, David has given a very convincing view.
The
of
evangelical who
Muhammad
failed
of the
his
7th
Arabic lesson is going to
What he
teach us
didn't want
about
to talk
Islam.
about is this timeline. Take a look at the timeline. You'll see the problem. Everything that he referred to, all those stories that he talked about, the 10 different problems, do not take place or are not written down, are not at all, you might say, even put to any historical evidence that we can see at the time, even the century that he lived. Take a look and see where the names are. There's the story of Muhammad, born 570. He went through that. And now let's see where all that takes place. Take a look at this slide here. The material that he talks about, everything that he's dependent on for his paradigm, does not come until Ibn Hisham. You notice I have an Ibn Ishaq up there, but I've kind of put him a very shadowed form. And the reason why is I don't think any of the material that we use today on Muhammad comes from Ibn Ishaq. We don't know anything about Ibn Ishaq. It's only attributed to Ibn Ishaq. Everything we know comes from Ibn Ishaq. Look at his dates. He doesn't even begin to appear until the 9th century. Muhammad died in 632. I'm getting an echo here. Is that important or not? Can you still hear me all right? Okay. So here you have Ibn Hisham. 833 is when that first biography of Muhammad is written down. That's 200 years after the fact. Al-Waqidi comes after that. When is the first traditions on concerning his speech? That doesn't come until Al-Bukhari. Look at the dates, 870. Sahih Muslim, Tirmidhi, Ibn Majah, Ibn Dawud, and Nisa. That's all up until 915, going into the 10th century. And we have nothing about the tafsir or the Taqi until Al-Tari, 923. So we're looking at 200 to 300 years later. This is all written down. Regardless of whether it's disturbing or embarrassing, we'll get to that in the rebuttal. Just look at the timeline. And notice where all these writers are from.
Okay,
They're all
right.
those red dots.
Okay, sorry.
But everything that he is
Yep. Okay. So you want to go
Okay,
first?
so yeah, this is absolutely false. Ibn Hisham or Ibn Ishaq is not the first tafsir in Islamic. Like we have so many tafsir.
You mean the first Sirah authors?
Yeah. We have so many sirahs that came long before Ibn Hisham and Ibn Ishaq. As a matter of fact, they took their
Yes.
lesson from others' books. Like for
Exactly.
example,
Exactly.
we have the Sufyan al-Thawri and his tafsir. He's an early tabi'in. And
Yes.
can I share the screen?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and share.
Hold on.
Go ahead and share.
Yeah. Okay, here you can see his book, Sufyan al-Thawri, Field Tafsir. We have more. For example, we have the Tafsir Abdul Razak. And this is something even Badr Farid mentioned in his video, I believe.
Mhm.
Hold on. Again, it's for all from early 7th century, right after, we're very close to when the Prophet died.
Yeah.
Here, can you see?
Yep.
Yeah. Tafsir Abdul Razak. Sanai. Again, it's from 7th century, as you can see here.
Yep.
7th century. And we have more. We have Hassan al-Basri. Tafsir of Hassan al-Basri from, again, early 7th century. And as a matter of fact, it's almost 90 years after the Prophet died. Let me just share it.
Yeah.
Here, as
Yeah,
you can see.
one thing we should mention also is that we don't rely on writings to record our history, you see, because like I've mentioned in our previous live stream, we verify, we collect and verify our tradition through the use of isnad. Okay. Isnad and memorization. This is something which like I said before, this is something which the Christians do not have, because the Christians they rely 100% on the writing in manuscripts and everything else. So when the writing gets lost or disappears or get tampered with, they don't have the original to match up. Whereas in Islam we have the isnads to verify whatever stories that are being circulated, and if even one narrator is found to be deficient, we reject the whole story entirely. Okay, so our sciences is totally different from the Christian way of preserving their tradition. So frankly, it doesn't matter whether our traditions were written like according to J. Smith, because he says that we rely too much on Ibn Ishaq and Ibn Hisham, right? So it was like 300 to 400 years later after the death of the Prophet. But frankly, it doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter whether it's 300 or 400 years or even 600 years after the death of the Prophet, because it's already, the stories are already being memorized and repeated and checked and reconfirmed and rinse and repeat all over again. So we don't have any problems with verifying our tradition. So that's so essentially, even his argument is very weak from an Islamic perspective, and from a viewpoint of a Muslim. It's totally irrelevant. See, So and of course you have shown us evidence that there were earlier tafsirs, even earlier ones than Ibn Ishaq anyway, and Ibn Isham. So who cares? Who cares? You see.
Also, another thing is that just because something comes later doesn't necessarily mean it's unreliable.
Exactly.
It's a non sequitur. I mean, like, for example, Einstein's theory came much later than Newton's. Does it mean Einstein
Yes.
is wrong and Newton is correct? Of course not. It
Yes. Of
depends on
course.
the theory itself or the recording
Exactly.
itself.
Exactly.
Whether it's
Exactly.
history, science, it doesn't matter.
You see, the funny thing about J. Smith's methodology is because this is the exact same methodology that Christian scholars use to deny the existence of Jesus. Okay, like there are some there are actually mythicists from among Judeo-Christian scholarship.
Really?
They actually deny that Jesus exists. Yeah, I mean they are not, of course, they are not Christians, they are atheists, but these people who deny Jesus exists have a very strong background in New Testament studies, in
Mhm.
Roman history, you know.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
you can't just simply dismiss them just because they are atheists and they deny the existence of Jesus. It
Mhm.
doesn't mean that their views doesn't hold weight. You see, because these
Mhm.
people were trained as scholars in the field. It's
Mhm.
basically similar to Erman. Okay, of course the
Mhm.
difference being Erman is not a mythicist. He does believe that Jesus existed. Okay, but for others who are atheists now today and had similar training as Erman, some of them actually deny Jesus exists using the same
Mhm.
methodology as Jasmine is trying to pull against Islam. See,
Mhm.
then and that's the problem for J. Smith. He has not answered uh, any of these claims by this mythicists,
Mhm.
this Jesus mythicists, but he's trying
Mhm.
to force Muslims to answer his claims about Islam
Yeah.
and about the
Yeah.
existence of the
Also,
Prophet.
another thing, like, yeah, and this is the criteria that a lot of historians use, and I think it's a very fallacious criteria,
Yeah,
which is that
yeah,
they think that just because something is a primary source in terms of
yeah,
writing, therefore
yeah,
it's reliable. It's not.
yeah, yeah. Not
It's
necessarily.
just not.
Yeah,
It's a
no.
baseless assumption.
Yes,
Like, we don't
exactly,
know if we
exactly.
don't know who wrote it,
Yeah,
or we don't know where it comes from, or we don't know
yes,
where its source comes from. We have no reason to
yes,
accept it.
exactly,
But if a
exactly.
later source or a secondary or third source comes in and it has better sourcing and it has a
Yeah,
chain of transmission, then it's much more
yes,
reliable.
of course,
That's just
of
how it
course.
is. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So you see the whole issue. I mean, the whole methodology of trying to apply the biblical method upon Islam falls to the ground. It doesn't make any sense.
Hmm.
As I said before in our previous live stream, it's like forcing a square peg into a circle. Okay, it
Hmm.
doesn't make any sense because our history, the way Islamic history is recorded, and the way Christians record their tradition are totally different. Okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah. So do you want to continue with the
I think, well, I mean, we can show example of like early hadith collection and stuff like that, but we have already done that like in previous streams.
early hadith collections? Well, I have this. Wait, let me pull this up. Islamic Awareness actually has a whole a whole series of information regarding the early hadiths. Okay, wait, let me try and share my screen first. Okay, okay. I'll share my screen. Right.
Hmm.
Give me a moment.
By
Yeah,
the way,
Islamic
the
Awareness.
the the screen I shared was from Imam Shafi.
Okay,
He also, by the Imam Shafi, also gave commentaries on the Quran. So this
okay,
book is basically a collection of that, and all of it can be traced back to Imam Shafi, and is all very early writing,
yeah,
again from 7th century. So
yeah. Of course, of course. Yeah, so this is it. Yeah. Are there any early hadiths? Yeah, I mean, you can just go to this article. Can you see the
yeah,
article?
yeah. I took a lot
Yeah,
of like information from here.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, this basically, yeah, this is an example. Yeah, so this is the one. The
Yeah,
Sahifa of Hammam bin Munabih. This is the
yeah,
first. This is one of the earliest collections. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, this is during the Umayyad period. Okay.
yeah,
So it's earlier than even Bukhari and Muslim.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
One of
Yeah,
them is
yeah.
even from like 7th century, like our late 6th century.
Yes, yes. And then we have, of course, we have the Muwatta, the
Yeah, yeah.
Musannaf of Abdul Razak, yeah, Musannaf
By
of
the way,
Ibn
Muwatta
Jurayj,
Malik's
etc.
copy, the earliest
Yeah,
manuscript that they have, is
yeah.
actually dated to the time when Imam Malik lived. So
Yes, correct,
we
correct,
know that
correct.
it's from Imam Malik.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So, then we need to ask Jay this question. Was Imam Malik collecting stories about a fictional person? because he lived in the second century, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
so the stories about him suddenly collecting stories. So what is the point of that? You see, what is the
This is
point
not
of
to mention
collecting?
all the
Yeah,
other early scholars like
yes, exactly.
Imam Abu Hanifa. We also have
Yes,
manuscript for his work. So
yes,
like,
exactly. So basically, it's a nonsensical argument because you see, let's look at it another way. Let's look at it from a perspective of history. So we
mm,
know that after the prophet died, passed away, there were wars, right? The Futuhat wars, right? The opening wars
mm,
where the Muslim armies poured out of Arabia and conquered the rest of the world, right?
mm,
Persia, Syria,
mm,
etc., right? Even up to Turkey, right? So
mm.
what were these people fighting for? If they were fighting, were they fighting for a fictional person? I mean, they definitely were. They definitely were Muslims. So they definitely need to, to say the Shahada and everything. Of course, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. So were
Mm.
they crying out to a fake person? That does a person who does not exist? What would be the motivation for someone to create a fictional character in order
Yeah,
to conquer the rest of the world? Yeah. And
it
also
makes
another
no
thing,
sense.
yes, it totally doesn't make any sense. Okay, so another point that I find interesting, because this is something that I came across this from a comment made by someone in Facebook several months back when they came to know about this argument about the debate whether the prophet existed or not. So someone actually made this comment. Why is it that the Umayyad Caliphs did not claim that they are fictional person, that they claim to be Muhammad, to be a fictional person? Why did they not claim that this person is from the Umayyads and not from the
Yeah,
Quraysh?
yeah.
Because you see the Arabs, they are very proud of their race and their
Lineage. Yeah,
tribes, their
yeah.
lineage. So for the Umayyads to admit that the prophet came from, let's say the prophet of Islam is a fictional character. So if they say that the prophet of Islam is a fictional character, why would the Umayyads say that this prophet came from a different tribe from theirs? Shouldn't they be claiming that the prophet came from the Umayyads, right,
Yeah,
to strengthen their
yeah,
claim?
yeah.
Instead, they are saying that the prophet came from the Quraysh, which is a
Hmm,
totally different tribe from theirs.
hmm,
So it's like saying that, it's basically you are saying that, to
hmm,
give an analogy, a modern analogy, okay. Let's say you are a royal from the house of Windsor, okay, which is the
hmm,
English house, right?
hmm,
And then suddenly you have been your house has been ruling England for thousands of years, the house of
hmm,
Windsor. Suddenly, you are claiming that someone from the house of, let's say, a house of York, the house of York,
hmm,
uh, is the person who ruled England before you came along. You know,
hmm.
so why would you want to claim that if this House of York did not exist? Okay,
Yeah.
because you're saying that you have been ruling England for a very long time. You are the House of Windsor, etc. Blah blah blah. So
Hmm,
there's no. Let's assume there's no such thing as a House of York. So you're saying that the House of York ruled England before you did.
hmm,
So why would you make up such a story if the House of York never existed in the first place? You see?
hmm, hmm.
So this is an example, okay? So this claim that the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did not exist is really
Halal
silly.
worker. Walaikum salam.
Yes. Walaikum salam, brother Halal Wakraf. Yeah. Great to see you here, Aki. Yeah. So basically coming back to the point, the fact that the Umayyads did not claim that the Prophet of Islam uh, is from their tribe shows
Yeah,
that the Prophet must be a real person. Because
yeah,
if the Prophet was a fictional character, then they
yeah.
would say, "Oh, the Prophet came from the Umayyads." Yeah, that is why we
Exactly.
claim legitimacy to the rule. You see?
Yeah,
You see?
yeah.
Yeah, because one of Jay Smith's claim, I think we're going to listen to that later, is that the Umayyads made up the story about the Prophet being a real person. Okay, so he's
Also,
actually claiming, yeah, yeah,
another thing, I want to add something. Like,
mm, yeah,
the story of like the fight between Muawiyah radhiyallahu anhu and Ali radhiyallahu anhu.
yes,
Eventually,
yes,
Muawiyah
yes,
radhiyallahu
yes,
anhu won, right? And
yes,
Ali
yes,
radhiyallahu anhu is
yes,
like his like family, right? The
yes,
Prophet's
correct,
family.
correct,
So
correct.
essentially, the Prophet's family lost the battle.
Yes, exactly. So argument from, I guess, similar to David's argument from shame.
Yeah, yeah.
Very similar to that. Also, another
Yeah.
thing is,
Yeah.
if the Prophet did not exist, then what about Ali ibn Abu Talib? Well, he's supposed to be the cousin of the Prophet, so he's a cousin of a fictional character. You see the problem with this, because
Yeah.
we know that, we know that the Prophet has relatives. We know that he had cousins, he had uncles, even Umar was he married the daughter of Umar. He married the daughter of Abu Bakr. We know that Abu Bakr and Omar and Uthman, these are all real people, right? So if you are saying that the Prophet of Islam is a fake character, then who did the daughters of Umar and Abu Bakr married to? you see
Yeah.
you see the problem. The problem is not just limited to the point whether the Prophet existed or not. It affects the whole story, right
Yeah.
from the beginning right to the end, until now. I mean, we know there are people until today. There are people who, they are Saids and Sharif, who are related from the descendants of the Prophet. In fact, the Jordanian royalty claims lineage from the Quraysh, right? You know this, right? Yeah. So are you saying that the Jordanian royalty did not exist? I mean, they are creating they created a fake tribe out of nowhere, and then suddenly there's a prophet from that tribe, and etc.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
the whole, yeah.
even in Bangladesh, like we have families
Yeah.
that say
Yes.
that they can trace back their lineage to the
Yeah.
bloodline of the prophet. So,
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
i-
Yeah.
like
Yeah. I
it's
mean the whole,
nonsense.
yeah, it's nonsense. I mean, then what about the claim? I mean, you need to really verify this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So you want to continue with the video, with
Yeah, yeah, sure.
this
Let's continue.
video? Or yeah. Okay. Um, let
I
me
think we
share.
refuted this point.
Yes, I think it's already addressed. I mean, it's clear that, the whole premise of the idea that the Prophet did not exist is nonsensical right from the start, because
Mhm.
they don't realize the implications of,
Also,
saying
the
such a thing.
point that like apparently we
Mm.
don't have any early sources before
That as
uh,
well. Yeah, of course, that
before
as well.
like Ibn Hisham is
Yeah.
absolutely false. We have countless
Yes,
example
of
and
course.
evidence of this.
Yes, we have
Like
we have
look at
thousands
the
of sources.
works of
Exactly,
early scholars like Abu Hanifa
exactly,
himself, like
exactly,
Imam
exactly,
Shafi, like all these are early scholars. We have the writing and we have their manuscripts in many
exactly,
cases.
exactly. We
So
do, we do. Yes,
and
we
they
do.
lived very early, almost after the
Yes,
death of the prophet.
yes.
So
Exactly. In
nonsense.
comparison with the Christians, there's no early writing around the time of Jesus to
Yeah,
prove whether Jesus existed or not.
yeah,
You see the problem with the Christians. They don't have any text
yeah.
which definitively say that a person named Jesus of Nazareth existed
Hmm,
during that particular time period. See,
hmm,
so
hmm,
that is a problem for them. See,
hmm,
whereas in our case, we have thousands and hundreds and thousands of evidence that the
hmm,
prophet definitely existed in Arabia during this time period. Okay,
hmm, hmm,
so you see, that's the problem with the Christians. Yeah.
hmm.
Yeah,
Let's
okay. So
continue.
yeah, sure. Let's continue. Right. Okay.
Been talking about take place in the green dots. You notice that? Can you see the north-south problem
Here
here?
comes the picture
Everything
conspiracy.
Yep.
about this Muhammad
Yep.
in the
Of
9th
course.
century is
Yeah.
supposedly taking place in Mecca and Medina, in the Hijaz, the central part of Arabia. All the writing about him, everything that's written about him, takes place in Cairo, Baghdad, Tabaristan, Basra, and Bukhara. Hundreds of miles away and hundreds of
So
years.
what's wrong with that?
Therefore, none of the traditional writers lived or
What's
worked
wrong with
in
that?
Mecca or Medina. They were too far to the north of Mecca and came from the west and east of Baghdad. You can look at the kilometers. I won't get into that. By the way, all of these slides, if you want them, I can give them to you. Not for those of you who are watching, those of you who are here who bought tickets. Okay? You can have all my
What
slides.
tickets?
Hmm.
Did you buy your ticket, brother?
To your Muslim friends.
No, I
This
didn't.
problem
I
of
didn't.
Muslim
Definitely, I
hegemony
did
is
not.
not at all understood well. Remember, you have, look at the bottom, you can see where Ibn Hisham is. Ibn Hisham died 833. Notice that he is, again, 200 years after the fact. Look how far away all of his materials, all of these northern areas are where the Abbasids originated from. I'm going to come back to this a little later. You need to understand that almost everything we know about Muhammad comes from the Abbasids, not from the Umayyad area. Have you heard this before? This is probably new to you.
Nope,
Furthermore,
I've
all
never
of
heard
this-
before, because it's such a stupid claim to say. So he's saying that the first time that that people heard of the name Muhammad was only during the Abbasid era. So the
Hmm.
Umayyads did not know of
Okay, can
of
I just go back to the previous slide that you showed?
okay.
I have a point to add to
Uh,
that.
which slide?
The previous one.
You mean Jay Smith's slide?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, wait, let me reverse it. Okay. Yep. Okay.
where he talked about the scholars.
Yeah. Okay. Let me reverse it. 5 seconds back. 5 seconds back. Okay. This one, I assume this.
Yeah, go
This.
back. Yeah. This one. Okay,
This
so
one, right?
here he is committing what is known as the cherry picking fallacy. He is
Mhm.
only showing you scholars who are from outside of Arabia and completely ignoring the scholars that grew up in Arabia,
Yeah.
who we have
I noticed.
works
I
of,
noticed.
who
I
were
noticed that
teachers
he
of these
didn't.
people,
Yeah.
who were
Yeah.
teachers of
Yeah.
these people,
Yeah.
well known.
Exactly.
We have their
Exactly.
manuscript, we have their books, and
Yep.
completely
Yep.
ignoring them.
Yep.
Let
Like
me. Can I
I.
just show some
Yeah.
example
Yeah. I
of
noticed he
how
didn't
devious this
mention.
guy is?
I
Yeah,
noticed that he didn't mention Imam Malik. Imam Malik grew up in Medina.
yeah. Not even Imam Malik, like even companions of the Prophet himself. Like,
So
hold on.
you want me to share the same screen from the one from Answering Islam? Sorry, Islamic Awareness.
No. I have some
Okay, okay, go
slide
ahead,
that I
go
want
ahead.
to show.
Go ahead and go ahead and share that your slide. Yeah. Mm.
Okay, so this is from like Wiki, but if you look at like one of the earliest scholar, he's a Tabi'in, Urwa ibn Zubair.
Okay.
He was born in 1644, and he was among the seven Fuqaha. He formulated a fiqh of Medina, and in the time of Tabi'in, one of the Muslim historians. He was a very early Muslim historian. We have his book, right, 7th century,
Okay.
and he's saying that there's no scholar from Mecca and Medina. Again, he lived in, uh, he lived in Mecca, and he was a Tabi'in, and he was born, from Medina. So this
Exactly.
is just one
Yeah.
example. Then
Yeah.
we have even Shihab al-Zuhri.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me just show
Yeah.
the
Go
book.
ahead.
Yeah. Again, raised in Medina, even Shihab al-Zuhri. And by the way, these are the teachers of like the later scholars, like Ibn Hisham and all the others. And again, raised in Medina. And again, we have there his narration from Hadith. We have his books, and yeah, like, and he's the teacher of Ibn Ishaq and Imam Malik, and again another one is Sufyan ibn Uyana.
Hmm.
He is again a very prominent teacher
Yep.
here, and again
Mm.
he's Tabi Tabin, and he's a scholar from Mecca.
Yeah.
So he's just ignoring all of these people. And
Wow.
if we like look at uh, Imam Malik himself, yeah, I'm gonna share the Islamic awareness. Again,
Yeah.
Muwatta Malik is dates back to the time when Imam Malik lived, and that's like
Yes.
7th century. That's exactly
Yep.
when he
Yep.
died,
Yep. And this is
795.
definitely during the Umayyad, I think, Umayyad era.
Yeah,
Not
no, I
Abbasid.
think it's even earlier than that.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it's earlier than the Umayyad even. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and this is
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
most shocking. And Imam Abu Hanifa was a very early scholar. And here, let
Mm.
me just share his book.
Yeah. Go ahead.
This is from Harvard. You can find this manuscript. So this is his book, Hada Kitab al-Fiqh al-Akbar.
Hada Kitab Al-Fiqh Al-Akbar. Okay.
Yeah, this is
Mm.
the manuscript.
Okay.
This is the book, and this was like contributed like in the 765 7.
Second century. Definitely second
Yeah,
century. Yeah.
second
Mm.
century, 7th
Yeah.
century.
Yeah.
So again, this manuscript can be dated back to the time when he lived, because
Sorry,
if you look
second.
at,
When I mean second century, I mean second century Hijri. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Mm.
and this is the same time when Imam Abu Hanifa lived.
Yep.
If you look at like uh,
It's amazing how this old fart ignores all this evidence and just repeats the claim that that
yeah,
we believe that we follow a fictional character.
yeah, okay, so it is a very good website. It's called Muslim Scholars. You can actually check who his teachers were and who his students were,
Yep.
right? And if you just click one of these links, eventually you'll get to like people like uh, people like Ibn Hisham,
Yeah.
uh, Tawari.
Yes.
If you just keep clicking, you'll get to them, or even Bukhari himself.
Hmm.
So we have all of this information,
Like I said,
And by
our
the
tradition is based on Isnad, so it's the
Yeah,
chain
yeah.
of narration right from the beginning. So this is part of it. Yeah,
yeah, so
yeah,
Imam Abu Hanifa died in 767,
yeah,
and this is from 767, his
yep,
manuscript. So
yep,
exactly when Abu Hanifa lived,
yeah, exactly.
which is very early.
Mm-hmm.
And we have countless others, like, for example, Atta ibn Abi Rabah, who's,
Mm-hmm.
let me just share that. By the way, if you like further look at his students, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and if you just click one of them,
Mm.
it'll take you to his students.
Yep.
And if you click one of the, eventually you'll get to famous people
Yep.
because they all learned from them.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
See, Imam Muslim. That's
Mm-hmm.
like 2 or 3 generation.
Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like
Yeah, the Isnad is there, so the
yeah,
chain
yeah,
is there. So it's no,
yeah.
there's no doubt. Yeah, there's no doubt that there's a chain of narration. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm.
And we have all these scholars from the early period, and he's just ignoring all of them in order to like fit his kind of conspiracy theory.
Yeah. Basically,
And
he's
this is
saying that the Abbasid just created a prophet out of thin air. That's what he's saying. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
and
So
in
basically,
spite
this
of
is
all this
this is
evidence.
yeah. This is cherry picking fallacy. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he's just cherry picking scholars to fit
Mm-hmm.
his narrative.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'll just stop sharing.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So I'll continue the video.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
All right. Let me do it again. All right. Okay. So I'm going to play.
The kilometers, I won't get into
Oh,
that.
the video
By
isn't
the way,
showing.
all of these slides, if you want
It's
them,
not
I can
showing?
give them to you. Not for
Yeah.
those of you who are watching, those of you who are here who bought tickets, okay? You can have all my slides.
Right, showing here.
So you can show these to your Muslim friend. This problem of northern hegemony is not at all understood well. Remember, you have, look at the bottom, you can see where Ibn Hisham is. Ibn
Also, another
Hisham
one,
is a very
another
important
point I want to mention.
Notice
Mhm,
that
mhm.
Can you
he
pause
is
it?
again
Mhm,
200
mhm.
For example, like so, basically, he's saying that for a scholar to exist or like for a scholar to be historically reliable, he has to be exactly from that place, right? Like he completely forgot that people move around.
Yeah, yeah.
So
That's a good
basically, like
point.
for
Yes,
example,
that's a good point.
if we
Yeah,
take his logic, right, and apply
yeah,
it to
yeah.
like Albert Einstein, like where was he born? He was born in Germany, right? And where did he teach? He teaches in Switzerland. So
Mm.
does it mean that Albert Einstein didn't exist or he didn't teach in like Switzerland? He actually
Yeah,
taught in Germany
yeah,
because like
yeah,
Germans were people were ashamed of what Germany did.
yeah.
They removed him, removed the history. That's big conspiracy. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's a really ridiculous conspiracy theory because he's
Yeah,
saying he also said that Bukhari lives in Bukhara and
yeah,
Imam Muslim lives somewhere further away. He
yeah,
didn't doesn't he know he realized that Imam Bukhari actually traveled all the way from Bukhara to Baghdad to learn and study the hadith.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
this
I
is
mean
well
his
known.
teachers
Yeah.
were from
Mm.
Arabia and he
Yeah,
completely ignored
yeah.
them.
No, he didn't stay in Bukhara and did his
Yeah,
studies there. He actually traveled to
yeah,
Baghdad, okay,
yeah,
and
yeah,
to Medina and Mecca as well, okay,
yeah,
to study. So
yeah,
what is he talking about, right?
yeah,
So it doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna continue this.
yeah, sure.
Okay.
years after the fact. Look how far away all of his materials, all of these northern areas are where the Abbasids originated from. I'm going to come back to this a little later. You need to understand that almost everything we know about Muhammad comes from the Abbasids. Not
Yeah,
from
he's
the
making the
Umayyads.
claim that the
Have you heard
Abbasids
this
created
before?
the idea of
This
a
is
prophet.
probably new to you.
You see, it's
Furthermore,
ridiculous.
all of it was written in the 9th and 10th century. They all wrote their material hundreds of miles too far away and hundreds of years too late. We get to the Quran, and I want to just look and say a quick about this. I'm not going to talk much about this because we're going to get into that tomorrow. But when you look at the Quran, you have 5 different canonizations of the Quran. Only one of them is from the Hijaz, and it's the one we don't know anything about. And that's the canonization of Uthman. Shadi Nasser, who is a Harvard professor.
By the way, can you pause?
Yeah, yeah. Let me pause this. You want to comment something on Shadi Nasser? Shady Nasser. Shady Nasser. Shady Nasser.
Yeah. Can we just watch some portion of the brother Farid's video on him? I think that would be
Mhm, mhm.
beneficial. Okay. I'll just share it.
Yeah, let me pull pull up his video. While
No, no,
while I'm
I
doing
have
that,
the
maybe
link.
you can talk. Okay, okay. Why don't you share that then?
Yeah,
Why
yeah,
don't you
okay, I
share
have
the
the
video?
link.
Yeah, yeah. You're going
Hold
to
on,
share
hold
his
on.
video. Yeah, because if I want to pull it up, it's going to take some time. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't want to call him Shadi Nasser. I call him Shady Nasser.
Shadiness, yeah.
Shady
Okay.
Nasser.
Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Let's play it.
Alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It's good to be back. And I don't know if you guys got the memo, but I really dislike crunching out videos. But the good news is that I'll only make qasr. Now, you'd think that a Harvard professor would be above some of those that I've dealt with in the past. However, you'd be surprised by the stuff that he's been able to get away with in the past. For some reason, some Muslims are intimidated by Western academics. And due to that, I'm going to be making an example out of Shadi Nasser, who allegedly
Shady
specializes
Nasser.
in sciences. And I'm going to demonstrate the egregious blunder, the inexcusable errors that he has committed, things that wouldn't fly in a traditional Islamic setting. But I don't want to take up more of your time. Here's a bunch of lies, distortions, manipulations, misquotations by Harvard professor Shadi Hekmet Nasser. For those of you that aren't aware, Asim bin Abi Najud is one of the main reciters of the Quran, and his recitation is adhered to by most Muslims today. When we return to Shadi's transmission of variant readings, page 21, we find him making the unfounded claim that Asim is unanimously known to be a weak hadith transmitter. He references Ibn Hajar's Tahdhib, volume 1, page 627, which has absolutely nothing to do with the claim that he made. He got the volume number wrong, the page number wrong, and the information wrong. But this is a recurrent theme of sloppiness that I'm kind of used to when going through
Totally
Shadi.
shady.
When we
Totally
actually
shady.
return to his biography in volume 2, page 250 to 251, we find scholars like Al-Ajli, Ibn Ma'in, Imam Ahmad, Abu Zur'a, and An-Nasa'i praising him. Al-Bazzar said that he isn't aware of anyone that dismissed Asim's hadith. I find it kind of confusing how Shadi Nasr was able to overlook all of this positive information about Asim. Perhaps it has something to do with his bias or his agenda against the Quran. But it doesn't stop at Asim.
All right, so I think we can safely say this guy's a con artist. He's a scam artist. Like,
Yeah. Basically,
yeah,
he doesn't quote his sources very well, and
yeah,
he calls himself a
unreliable,
scholar.
completely unreliable, and he's being quoted by this guy.
Yeah, exactly. So when devious people like the old fart Jay Smith quotes Shady Nasir, we know that something shady is going on. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
right. So okay, yeah. So I'm going to share this again, and shall we continue playing this?
yeah, yeah. Sure, sure.
All right.
All of the recitation, you might say all of the qira that we've been going through last year since June 8th, since that infamous interview that they had on YouTube. Take a look at all the canonization. Ibn Mujahid is the one that puts together the first 7 readings. Look and see where he is. Look and see his date, 936, that's 10th century. Al-Shatibi is the one that puts together the next 14 students. These are the riot. Those all are introduced in
Who, me?
1194.
I'm from
That's the
Bangladesh,
12th century.
brother.
Al-Jazari is the one that brings in
Amy
the
from
next
Malaysia, right?
9. So you get 7 plus 14, that's 21, plus 9 equals 30. The 30 riwayats and the readers all are finally introduced in 1429. That is 15th century. And take a look and see how many years that is after Muhammad. That's 800 years after Muhammad, we get the 30 Qurans. Finally, they have to put it back to one in 1924, the 1924 Quran. But I want you to look at this map here. I'm sorry, not this map, this timeline here. Of all those 30 riwats and the
Oh,
readers,
this
they're all
claim,
listed up
yeah.
there. The 3, the green ones are the
I
7.
think we both
the
know
red
what this is.
Are the 3, and the purple are all the riwayats, which would be the students that come from every one of them, introduced by Ibn Mujahid, Al-Shatibi, and Al-Jazari. They all are introduced 800 years, but take a look and see where they all are introduced. 3 of them come from Mecca. 5
Oh,
from
this
Iraq, and
nonsensical
only 8
claim
of
again.
them, of the 30, come from the Hijaz.
Yeah,
that
he
is
just
not
loves this claim.
the
Yeah,
area
can I
that
just
this
can
is
I
all
just
supposed
can
to
we
be.
just
Yeah.
pause?
Yeah, let's pause this and
Yeah.
maybe want to address this, right?
Jay,
Yeah.
When you
Jay,
look
Jay,
at the
Jay,
others,
Jay,
one comes
listen.
from Cairo,
Can you
three come
pause,
from
pause it?
Damascus, six come
Yeah,
from
Just
hang
pause
on.
Basra,
it.
and 12.
Yeah, let me do that. All
Pause,
right.
pause.
Okay.
Yeah. Jay, people can move from one place to another place. Things can be moved from one place to another place. Okay, this is common sense. Wallahi, this is common sense. Like, let me give you some example, right? Let's look at where we find all of the early manuscript of the Bible. Let's look at where they're found,
Yeah.
and we'll see how stupid this
Yeah.
point is.
Yes.
Okay, so let me
Yeah.
share the
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah. Go ahead and share your screen. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the Magdalene Papyrus, right? Where is it found? Is it found in Greece? No, it's found in Egypt. So does it mean that Jesus is from Egypt? Does it mean Jesus' disciple is from Egypt? Because that's the claim that he's making. Then, if you look at the earliest manuscript of Mark, again, another one, it's also from Egypt.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, most of the earliest manuscripts that they found were at Nag Hammadi and
Yeah,
and also the Dead Sea Scrolls also were found in the desert, right? In the Negev
yeah,
desert.
yeah. Look, this is also
Mhm.
from Egypt. So
Yeah.
does it
Yeah.
mean like
Yeah. Nag Hammadi. Yeah. This from Nag Hammadi. Yeah. These are Nag
yeah?
Hammadi connections. Yeah.
Does it mean that
Yeah.
Jesus is from Egypt? I mean, that's his logic, right?
Yeah. This is logic.
Then
Yeah.
if we look at like John, the earliest manuscript of John, this is also from Egypt. Why are all of these manuscripts from Egypt? Jay, what's going on? Look, Egypt. Does
Egypt.
it
Yeah.
mean that
Yeah. It was found in
early
Egypt. Yeah.
Jesus and his disciple lived in Egypt?
Yeah.
Does it mean there's
Does
a
it
big
mean
conspiracy
that
that they were
does it
later
mean there
moved to
was
Palestine?
yeah,
Yeah,
does
yeah.
it mean
I
that
can, we can make up a
Egyptians
conspiracy
created
theory like
yeah,
this, right?
it doesn't make
Even
any
better
sense.
one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, the Egyptians conspired together and created a fictional story about Jesus living in
yeah,
Palestine when it's actually from
yeah,
Egypt.
yeah,
Yeah, so that's the thing. It's
yeah.
ridiculous. Yeah,
It's
it's
a
absurd.
stupid fallacy. Like,
Yeah,
just because something is found in a place doesn't necessarily mean that it originated in this place. It's a non sequitur
exactly.
fallacy.
Yeah,
It's
exactly,
a stupid,
exactly.
stupid argument.
The logic doesn't make sense because he's assuming as though people don't migrate elsewhere and and move around. He's
Yeah,
thinking that people will need to stick in one place and stay put there for the rest of of their lives, and they
yeah,
cannot travel thousands of kilometers. I mean, come on! In the Bible, you were taught that Abraham traveled from Mesopotamia all the way from Iraq, Mesopotamia, okay,
yeah,
in today's Iraq, all the way to
yeah,
Canaan. Okay, you were
yeah,
taught that. So this is in the Bible. This is a biblical story. Of course, we Muslims believe that Abraham also went to Mecca as well, but they don't believe this.
yeah,
So let's keep that aside. But we look
yeah.
in the Bible itself. It says that Abraham traveled all the way from Mesopotamia
Hmm,
to Canaan. Okay, to Canaan. Okay.
hmm,
So I mean, is it not possible for someone to travel, for all the way to a certain place?
hmm,
Because you
hmm.
see, this is like you said, this is a fallacy,
Yeah,
created by J. Smith. You see,
yeah,
so it's ridiculous. Yeah, it's
yeah.
absurd. Yeah,
It's beyond ridiculous, man. It's crazy.
yeah,
Like
yeah. I mean,
he
so
doesn't have basic comprehension skill,
yeah. So going
and
back to his point, he's saying that all these Kira just because they are all in different places and they were only known. And the Abbasid Empire was known at the time, therefore the Abbasids must have created these
yeah.
Kirats. I mean,
Also another thing.
what
Okay,
ridiculousness.
so the latest Birmingham manuscript was found in England, right? So does
Yes,
it mean the
yes.
Prophet ﷺ lived in England?
Oh my god, that's mind-boggling, isn't it? Oh my god. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And and the Birmingham manuscript is actually a companion manuscript to the one in Tübingen. Tübingen is in France. So
Uh,
are we going to say that the prophet came from France?
right.
We can play with this
By the way,
logic all
speaking
day
of
long.
which, you
Hmm.
shared that that link with me on Discord, where some people postulate that apparently the royal family, the British royal
Oh yes,
families,
yes,
is from
yes. I need to
descendant.
share that. Yeah, let me share that. Yeah. I think since we are on the subject, yeah. So let's
Yeah,
share that link. All right. Yeah, I have an
yeah,
article which says that it's possible that the current Queen of England may have actual lineage with the prophet. with the Prophet of Islam, which
Yeah,
J.
yeah.
Smith said doesn't exist. Okay, there you are. So this is the title. The Queen's Spanish ancestor. Sorry, this is the ad. Okay, let me take this out. The Queen's Spanish ancestor who makes the royal family possible descendants of the Prophet Muhammad. So there we
Yeah.
go. And then the theory has it that Queen Elizabeth is the 43rd granddaughter of the Prophet.
So
so
again, like, does it mean like the prophet lived in England? Of course not.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
like,
Yeah.
like this
Also, he
is
put pates. Yeah, he's also put pates to the idea that the prophet did not exist, because if the prophet really is the great grandfather of Queen Elizabeth,
yeah.
then what? And he's a fictional character. Then what would that make the Queen of England? So is she a fictional character? Okay, see. Okay, so if, I
Hmm.
mean, anyone can go to this article. Can take a look. So there's a long case for the claim that the current Queen of England has lineage
Hmm.
from the Prophet. So this is the particular part. Let me just read this part, right? So one particular name of interest that comes up when revisiting the history books concerning the time period. Okay, the time period from the An-Andalus era, the Reconquista era. Okay, it's a certain
Hmm.
Zaida of Seville who has been identified as a Morisco. Morisco was a term used at the time to refer to Muslim and Jewish Moors who remained behind in the territories captured by the Catholic armies and outwardly converted to Christianity to evade exile or slaughter. Zaida was born in Andalusia, southern Spain, in 1070 and was a princess of the ruling Abbasid dynasty, which was founded in 1023 by Abu al-Qasim Muhammad ibn Abbad, a known descendant of Prophet Muhammad. There you go, another point again. So the Abbasids, whom he claimed created a story of the Prophet, is also
Hmm.
a descendant of the Prophet Muhammad.
Hmm.
So he's saying that the Abbasid made up their lineage about the Prophet. I mean, how did the Abbasids come to be if the Prophet is a fictional character? Okay,
Hmm.
so then the article goes that about this Zaida of Seville. So this Zaida was
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
cut a long story short, this Zaida of Seville was captured and she became the concubine of this king Alfonso the Sixth. Okay, so
Hmm.
then she changed her name to Isabel and bore Alfonso a son, and then this is the son who married off to into the family and went on to marry this one. Uh,
Hmm.
Rodrigo Gonzalez de Lara of Castile. So one of their
Hmm.
descendants was Princess Isabella of Castile. Okay, and
Hmm.
this Princess Isabella of Castile was married into the English house. Okay, the royal house, the Duke of York, Prince Edmund
Hmm.
of Langley. So this is how the current Queen of England is connected. Okay, so
Hmm.
this Zaida uh, is the great grandmother of the current Queen of England. And this
Hmm.
Zaida is related to the Prophet Muhammad. So this is
Hmm.
how the claim goes. Okay.
Yeah, well, according to Jay, they didn't exist. Like a Lord Royal family doesn't exist.
it seems that Jay is going to have a lot of issues now. If she's going to say that the Prophet did not exist, then the Queen of England doesn't exist.
They
A
are
lot
all
of
in on
issues.
the conspiracy.
So maybe the Queen of England conspired to create all this lineage, fake lineage, or so called, according to him,
Yeah.
right? So according to him, the prophet doesn't exist, and people created this story, right? So maybe the Queen of England, who is a Christian, created all this story in order to connect herself to the prophet.
A fictional character that
To
didn't
what
exist
purpose?
apparently.
Yeah, a fictional character who doesn't exist according to him, right? Why would a practicing Christian in today's England connect
Yeah,
herself to the Prophet of Islam through lineage
exactly.
and create all the story, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So because this is what basically what J. Smith is implying. Okay. Yeah.
yeah. Now,
So
to be fair to like Jay Smith, well, Walakassalam brother, he does say that there are, uh, you know, kirats or manuscript from Mecca and Medina, right? He's not entirely denying it. But
yeah.
then again, like if his argument is this one, which it still doesn't make sense because even if like most of the manuscripts are from different places, that doesn't mean anything because the Muslim empire was vast. People were moving around. So of
Exactly.
course, you're not going to
Exactly.
find everything in the same place. So it's just a stupid logic.
Yeah,
Regardless, I think we should continue.
yeah. Let us continue, and then we can comment more. Yeah.
Okay.
Come from Kufa. And the Quran that we have in hand today, it is from Kufa. It is not from the southern part. It is all in the north. Look at the red dots. Here's the north-south divide again. Let's look at the Quranic Arabic. Even the Quranic Arabic, the Arabic that we have in the Quran is not from that green area. The green area is what he's talking about. That's the 9th and 10th century Muhammad, right? If this guy received the Quran in that area, then the Quran that's in our hand today is not that Quran, because that Quran has the thought of Marbuta.
Why would she be support of the Muslims? Like, there are countless people in the UK who like hates Muslims. Wouldn't she try to get support from them? Bro, you're muted. You're muted. I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I wanted to say that Brian, I think you are not in a position to insult Her Royal Majesty the Queen of England, right? Because you are a Republican from the US of A, okay, which itself has flaws, okay, in its democratic system, okay. That is why you could elect an idiot like Donald J. Trump, who stupidly brought America to the brink of economic collapse, okay, and made China one of the most powerful nations in the world today. Thanks to Donald J. Trump, China is now very much a superpower. Okay, so frankly, I don't think Americans should be lecturing us about dictatorships and everything, because their system of democracy, and I use the term very loosely, is very much flawed. Yeah. Okay. That is why idiots like Donald J. Trump can become president of the United States. Okay. So, right. So another one. Okay. Brother Ali Muhammad. David Wood doesn't know anything about the Quran. David Wood Googles everything. Yeah, he's a Google scholar. Yeah, he uses Sheikh Al Google to look for information, and he gets his ijazah from Imam Al YouTube. Yeah, so this is sources, okay. Yeah. Whereas me and Brother Islamic Calling, we actually hit the books. We actually read actual hadith books. Of course, unfortunately, right now I'm not in KL. I'm not at my home. I'm at my mother-in-law's place, so I don't have my books with me. But if you have looked in my previous live streams or my previous videos, you would see that I have a large collection of books, and I'm sure Brother Islamic Calling has books as well. A lot of books. Yeah, unlike David Wood, the follower of the great Tabi'in Sheikh Al Google. Okay, okay, right.
I think we should continue. Let's see what he says.
Okay, so anyway, let's continue with the video. Yeah. Sorry for my throat, because I just had hot tea, so all the phlegm is coming out of my throat. So yeah, don't worry, I'll mute myself. Yeah.
And the Quran that we have in our hand today has the Aleph Maksura in it, has the Aleph in it, has also the Irab. These are what we know as unstressed inflectional short final vowels. None of this exists in any Arabic that existed in the 7th century in that part of the world. So what are you talking about, David? Where is this Quran that you're talking about, or this man that received it that far south? If he had come from a man named Muhammad who lived in the 7th century in that part of Arabia, he would have had Sabbaic Arabic. Sabbaic Arabic, ironically speaking, the Sabbaic Arabic that actually was introduced in Yemen does have the 5 dots and has the 3 vowels, the very thing the Quran needed. And if he had written it in that Arabic, we would have not had any qira'ats.
Okay.
He always likes to end his sentence with do. I find that a bit annoying when it's called fart sometimes. Yeah. I don't know why he does that. Is it a habit or something? I don't know. But it annoys the hell out of me.
Yeah. Again, like he's with this same stupid logic. So his logic is that, these things are found more common in this area. Therefore, it cannot have ever be integrated into this other area.
Yes, exactly.
Do you see how stupid this is?
Yeah, it is. It is very stupid, because you see,
people migrate.
If you study the
people
history
go to war
of
with
Arabic,
each other. Cultures and language, they evolve.
Exactly. If you study the history of Arabic, you will know that there are some words that came from the Southern Arabic, and at the same time, the Northern Arabic was also developing at the same time. So it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
like the Southern Arabic was in a vacuum and it doesn't interact with the northern part of the peninsula. So it's
Yeah,
ridiculous. I mean,
but any
it is.
this is a
Yeah,
false claim. This is a false claim,
yeah.
and I have evidence
Yes,
for
it
this.
is. It is. It is. Yeah.
Hold on, let
Do
me
you
just share the
you want to
screen.
share something? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, the claim here is that Nabatean Arabic was never used in the south. Right? It's
Okay.
only used in the north, never in the south. That is false, because we have archaeological evidence which is written in Nabatean Arabic,
Yeah.
which shows that, you know, in the south it was used, because it literally name calls one
Yeah.
of the early poets,
Yeah.
pre-Islamic poets,
Mhm.
Imrul Qais, and
Yeah.
literally name calls him, and even mentions the city of Najran, which is again is in the south.
Yes.
Hold on,
Yes.
let me just pull up the map if I want
Yeah. Go ahead.
to just show you. So we can see, yeah, Najran is all the way in south.
Yep. Yep. It
See
is
this?
Najran. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
let's read what the to give the some information about this tablet. This tablet is from 328 CE, which means almost what is it? 200 years before the Prophet was born. And context, it says the following: the translation of inscription after Bellamy. Again, it is written in Nabatean Arabic alphabet. This is the funerary monument of Imrul Qais. Again, Imrul Qais is the famous poet, a pre-Islamic poet, son of Amr, king of Arabs, and his title of the honor was Master of Asad and Manchi. And he subdued the Asadis. By the way, this is talking about stories that again taking place in the south, not the north.
Yeah. Yeah. Imru
And
Qais
they
was
were
a northern king. It was the northern Arab poet and king, if I'm not mistaken. But this it was in pre-Islamic Arabia. Okay.
south, even south.
Yes.
And he
Yes.
subdued the Asadis, and they were overwhelmed together with the kings. And he put the fight Majlis thereafter and came driving them into the gates of Najran. Again, Najran is in the south. So if there was nothing in the south, and this is like a whole big conspiracy, why are they name dropping Najran? Or why are they talking about fighting in the south if there's nothing there?
Yep.
So this
Yep.
clearly shows that Nabatean script is from the south. It was used in the
Yeah.
south, and people are literally writing their memorial
Mhm.
in this type of Arabic.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
So again, it goes on to like talk about his father, and then it says he died in the year 223 on the city of Kaslul, and yeah. So hold on, where is Kaslul? Let's take a look at this. I can find information, but either way. So yeah, it's talking about like talking about the south, and it's written in the Nabatean Arabic. So yeah, again, if it's only used in the north, then why do you see evidence of this being used in the south? So it's completely false.
Yes.
No,
Exactly. Exactly. Yep. Yep.
as a matter of fact,
So yeah.
we have oral evidence that Imrul Qais and his tribe actually moved to Mecca or near Mecca. For
Yeah.
example, there's a research paper. Hold on. By the way, this is from
Okay.
Malaysia. This is a Malaysian research paper,
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Go ahead and share it. Yeah. Yeah.
I think. So yeah, it is from University. I
Okay.
think so. I could be wrong. So the
Let
research
me
paper
check.
says Arab.
Let me check. Where is it from? Advances in Social Sciences and Research. Oh, University Islam Sultan Sharif. No, no. This is from Brunei.
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 Okay,
Yeah,
my
Brunei.
mistake.
Brunei. Yeah. No,
Okay.
it's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
Arab
From Brunei.
dialects that form the classical Arabic in which the Holy Quran was revealed. So if you look at this paper, it mentions the following.
Oh, this is a very good paper. I
Yeah,
must
yeah.
download this.
Hold on, let me just find the.
Oh,
It's not working for some reason. Okay, hold on. Let me just.
yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Take your time. Don't worry.
me see if I can share my. Can you see like the WordPad? Okay, so this is the quote I wanted to show. It says the Kinda from Yemen. Hold on, let me see if I can pull up the book. Can you see the book? Hold on, wait. So I have actually downloaded the PDF. Here we go. Can you see it? So let me. Here we go. Okay, so I actually yellow marked it. Okay, so while Kinda from Yemen, and they're writing it, while Kinda from Yemen, this is talking about pre-Islamic tribes and how they migrated to the south. While Kinda from Yemen, which was the place of the tribe of Ibn Qais, the poet, settled in Al-Arud in the north and Kuza in Mecca, as being in the vicinity of the Quraysh. Some tribes like Huzail and Kinan were settled in the land of Yemen. Many other tribes and their branches gathered in Iraq, Syria, to the north and south, and played an important role to the movement of the Islamic conquest. So yeah, all these different tribes moved near like different places. Some of them moved near the Quraysh or Mecca, and other people lived in other places. So yeah, it's again what he's claiming is absolutely false. If Imru Qais, and again this shows that we have both oral evidence and historical archaeological evidence that Imru Qais lived near the south or like near Mecca. So yeah, and this again, like this whole Petra conspiracy theory is absolute nonsense, and we can talk about more about this, but yeah.
So I want to share this again, I assume.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's play. Let's continue playing, right?
I hope you're getting this, folks, and I hope those who are watching are getting this. Now, what about this Muhammad who received letters? And this is something the Muslims love. They come to me all the time. What about this letter? Let's look at this letter right here. This is the Ashtanami. If you look at this letter has nothing to do with Muhammad. We now know it's fraudulent. It is dated supposedly to 625. There are 47 writings listed in Saad's account in 845. He doesn't name the Ashtanami once. Look at the minaret on the right side. Minarets were only introduced in the 9th century, not used until the 11th century. Look at the name Sultan is referred to, but there was no reference to Sultan that early. That was only introduced 350 years later in 998. Mosques were mentioned.
But do you notice how he is using the same logic of metaphysical like theory that only way you can know something is if you have historical evidence for it, which is again false.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you go by this, then we have to and go back to the 8th century.
Yeah.
And we didn't have any historical evidence of the Aztecs, then we have to reject the existence of Aztecs, which again would lead us to a false belief.
Exactly.
So this is not a good metaphysical theory to adopt.
Yeah, exactly.
Historians are wrong.
Basically, he just picks and he just picks and chooses the methodology that he wants in order to push a certain idea. That's what he's doing. Yeah, you see.
Yeah.
So it's not consistent. Yeah. So anyway, you want to comment about this? His claim about this letter. I think this is the letter that was written by the prophet to the monks, right, in the monastery in Egypt. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Hold on. Do you want to address this, or do you want me to play this until it finishes? Let me play this.
641. And as far as the Malak Makura, the angel proximity, that is a Sufi.
Yeah, let me play this until it ends, and then we can address this. All right.
10th century, about 340 years later. What's more, when you look at that, you will see it is actually a writing from the 16th century. The earliest and the original we have is from the 16th century, which makes sense because that's the right time to have written a letter like that. Wrong man, wrong place, wrong letter. The Constitution.
Go back. I just wanted to point to some of his point. Okay.
Okay. Yep. Go ahead.
So first he says that dated to 625 AD, yet the traditions say no letter were sent until 628. Yeah, he's talking about the Muslim tradition. Muslim tradition also say the Prophet ﷺ existed. He split the moon in half,
Yeah.
So, like, are you going to accept that?
Yeah, exactly.
So
So
he,
like
again,
I said,
he cherry picks. He
yeah,
cherry
he
picks
cherry
when he
picks.
wants to
Yeah,
use them,
yeah,
and
exactly,
sometimes he
exactly.
doesn't when
Yeah, sometimes he
not
takes the
context.
hadith, sometimes he doesn't take the hadith, sometimes he takes
Yeah,
the
yeah,
sirah, sometimes he doesn't take the
yeah.
sirah. All to
So
fit
which
his
one is it?
narrative.
Like
See?
are the
Yeah,
Muslim tradition
he's not
reliable or it's
consistent.
not? Yeah,
Exactly. Is the sirah false or is it true? I mean, make up your
make up
mind,
your
man.
mind.
Make up your mind. First, you're saying that the Islamic source is reliable because you're quoting from it. Now then after that you're saying that it's not reliable because there's no evidence of this, etc.
Mhm.
And but you're still picking up sources from the sirah. See,
Yeah,
so it's ridiculous. You're disavowing something, but yet you are still using that something as evidence.
yeah. He's contradicting
Yeah,
himself.
yeah, exactly. So
So the
he's not
second point
consistent.
is
Yeah.
the second point is 47 writings listed by Ibn Sa'd,
Hmm.
but Ashtanami isn't mentioned. Again, argument of ignorance fallacy. Just because something isn't mentioned doesn't necessarily
Mm,
mean it doesn't exist or we
exactly.
cannot allude
Exactly.
to it.
Yes.
Minaret is
Exactly.
pictured, which were created in the ninth but not used until 11th. Again, fallacy because like
Mm,
just because you have no evidence of it doesn't mean it was never
yeah.
used.
Yes.
Sultan is
Exactly.
referred
Exactly.
to but wasn't used until Muhammad. Again, argument of ignorance, not
Mm,
acceptable. So
yeah.
basically,
Exactly.
he's only using fallacy to justify his position. Do you notice
Hmm.
this?
Yes. Yes.
Like this guy
Exactly.
is supposed to be an academic, and he
Hmm.
can make a proper argument without using a fallacy.
I don't believe he's an academic. That's the thing.
Yeah,
Like what I said in the previous live stream. I wonder where he get his doctorate from. He doesn't. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have one. Okay,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure he doesn't
yeah,
have one. He's just
yeah.
faking it. Yeah, yeah. Just
So
like
it,
his buddy,
yeah,
just like his psychopathic buddy, who doesn't
yeah,
have a doctorate either. Okay.
yeah. So then his next point is mosques mentioned yet not in Egypt until 641 is rates weren't decided by the Christians. Now, okay, so he says that mosques mentioned but not in Egypt until 641.
I think he's
Again,
talking
like
about the buildings, right?
yeah,
If he's talking about a physical building, then probably not. But then again, when we say masjid, we don't really mean a physical building.
no, no,
Sometimes it means a
it's not about
consecrated.
that.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
not even about that. Like, so
Yeah,
he's probably saying because we have no historical evidence for it, right?
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah,
again, just because it's an argument of ignorance.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
how do you know there were no mosque in Egypt at
yeah.
that time?
Exactly, exactly,
Like, we know
exactly.
that there are many early mosques in Africa. Like, we can date
Yeah,
back to them. So
yeah,
maybe they were there. So again,
yes,
it's not a good point.
yeah.
Then he says
No
Malay.
sources, no. Do you notice that for every point that he made, he said not
Yeah,
used, not mentioned, etc. Whereas he doesn't quote any, he doesn't cite any sources.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
He just simply says it. He says, okay, 47. Let's, for example, let's take this point. Minaret is pictured, which was created but not used until 11th century. So
Hmm,
what's your source for this? Where are you taking this information from? Why can't
hmm,
you quote your source, right?
hmm, hmm.
Why you're alluding to something and yet you fail to cite a source?
By the way,
Okay.
he doesn't even show the letter, like or what the
Mm.
letter said.
Yeah, it's
Should
just
we
a
pull up the
blank
letter
piece of
and
parch.
read what it actually says?
Ashtiname letter. Yeah, why not? Do you want to do that
Can you find
or
it? Can you find it?
Ashtiname? I can't. I'm trying to Google it, but my internet is a bit slow. Maybe you can try and doing that.
Hold on.
Can yeah. Oh, I saw. I can see one. I can see the article in Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Should I share this?
Yeah.
Why don't I share the one in Wikipedia? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure, sure.
All right. Stop screen. Share. Share screen. Ashtiname of Muhammad. So yeah, this
By
letter
the way,
yeah, yeah.
by the way, Brian Bradley said something. Can I respond to it? Can you pull it
Yeah,
up?
sure, sure. Go ahead. Okay. What did he say?
The first mosque in Africa.
Oh, this one.
The first mosque in Africa were in the 1200s. No, it was not. You even have mosque from 7th and 6th century. I'll show evidence of it later on. Regardless, let's continue.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So anyway, the Ashtiname of Muhammad. So this letter that
Yeah.
the monks of Mount Sinai have, this is actually a copy of a copy. Okay.
Yeah.
So this not, it's not even the original copy, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
so
So it could be fabricated,
it
but
could be
the points he's
fabricated.
making
Yeah,
are still
yeah.
fallacious.
Well,
Can we see like what's written on the letter?
yeah. Unfortunately, we can't see the letter itself. I mean, it's
No,
not
no, no.
clear.
Is it written in like a Wikipedia page?
No, it's wait, you mean the translation?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, let me check. Let me check. Okay, give me a moment. Let me scroll down. There's an English translation. Okay, there's
Okay.
an English translation of the treaty.
Okay. Can we read it?
Yes, yeah. So this is a letter which was issued by Muhammad ibn Abdullah, the messenger, the prophet, the faithful, who is sent to all the people as a trust on the part of God to all his creatures, that they may have no plea against God hereafter. Verily, God is omnipotent, the wise. This letter is directed to the embracers of Islam as a covenant given to the followers of Jesus the Nazarene in the east and west, the far and near, the Arabs and foreigners, the known and the unknown. Okay.
You can
Uh,
continue reading.
okay. You want me to read this? Okay.
Yeah. Let's read
This.
the whole thing.
Okay. Okay. Right. This letter contains the oath given unto them, and he who disobeys that which is therein will be considered a disbeliever and a transgressor to that whereunto he is commanded. He will be regarded as one who has corrupted the oath of God, disbelieved his testament, rejected his authority, despised his religion, and made himself deserving of his curse, whether he is a sultan or any other believer of Islam. Whenever Christian monks, devotees, and pilgrims gather together, whether in a mountain or valley or den, or frequented place or plain or church, or in houses of worship, verily
By the way,
we
can I
are.
can I comment on something? So he's saying that's the
Yeah,
this word sultan could be a
yeah,
later edition, right?
yes, yes. That's what he's
Yeah.
saying.
So
Yeah,
what? That doesn't mean the
yeah,
letter itself is false. It could be that when someone's copying it, he added the
yeah.
letter sultan, right, to
Exactly,
translate it.
exactly, exactly, exactly.
So,
Yeah, yeah. So
or it
okay.
could be a copyist error.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. Verily, we
So
are at
yeah.
the back of them and shall protect them and their properties and their morals by myself, by my friends, and by my assistants, for they are of my subjects and under my protection. Okay, then I shall exempt them from that which may disturb them of the burdens which are paid by others as an oath of allegiance. They must not give anything of their income, but that which pleases them. They must not be offended or disturbed or coerced or compelled. Their judges shall not be changed or prevented from accomplishing their offices, nor the monks disturbed in exercising their religious order, or the people of seclusion be stopped from dwelling in their cells. No one is allowed to plunder these Christians or destroy or spoil any of their churches or houses of worship, or take any of the things contained within these houses and bring it to the houses of Islam. And he who takes away anything therefrom will be one who has corrupted the oath of God and in truth disobeyed his messenger. And then jizya shall not be put upon their judges, monks, and those whose occupation is the worship of God, nor is any other thing to be taken from them, whether it be a fine, a tax, or any unjust right. Verily, I shall keep their compact wherever they may be, in the sea or on the land, in the east or west, in the north or south, for they are under my protection and the testament of my safety against all things which they abhor. No taxes of thieves shall be received from those who devote themselves to the worship of God in the mountains or from those who cultivate the holy lands. No one has the right to interfere with their affairs or bring any action against them. Verily, this is for aught else and not for them. Rather, this in the season of crops, they shall be given a kadah for each ardab of wheat. In brackets, the translator said about 5 bushels and a half as provision for them, and no one has the right to say to them, "This is too much," or ask them to pay any tax. As to those who possess properties, the wealthy and merchants, the poll tax to be taken from them must not exceed 12 drachmas a head per year, okay, which is about 200 USD today, okay.
Hmm.
And okay, to continue again, there shall not be imposed upon by anyone to undertake a journey or to be forced to go to wars or to carry arms, for the Muslims have to fight for them. Do not dispute or argue with them, but deal according to the verse recorded in the Quran, to wit, Do not dispute or argue with the people of the book, but in that which is best. Quran Surah 29 verse 46. Thus they will live favored and protected from everything which may offend them by the callers to religion, basic brackets Islam, wherever they may be and in any place they may dwell. Should any Christian woman be married to a Muslim, such marriage must not take place except after her consent, and she must not be prevented from going to her church for prayer. The churches must be honored and they must not be withheld from building churches or repairing covenants. They must not be forced to carry arms or stones, but the Muslims must protect them and defend them against others. It is positively incumbent upon every one of the follower of Islam not to contradict or disobey this oath until the day of resurrection and the end of the world. Yeah, so it ends there. Yeah.
Okay, so all the points he made, like what from what we read, it doesn't seem like it actually contradicts what the early Islamic sources say about what the
Yeah,
Muslims did.
yeah, it's very
Now I
consistent
know,
with Islam. Yeah, it's
yeah,
very
I
consistent
know
with
that
Islam.
historians argue against it, but they have their own arguments. But the arguments that are being made by the conspiracy theorists, and none of it are good. They're all fallacious, as we saw.
Yeah,
And I'm
exactly.
sure the historians have their reason, but from an Islamic point of view, I don't think we can accept this letter because we don't know the chain of transmission. I think
Exactly.
so. From
Yeah.
Islamic point of view, we cannot accept it. But under Jay's worldview, he should have no problem with this.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
can you bring up the?
Oh, I think there's a brother EMF here says, bro, read Bidayah al. I know this book, Bidayah al Nihaya, best reliable source of Islamic history. Yes, we know about this book. Yeah, we know about this book. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's written
Okay,
by
so let's
Ibn.
continue.
Who wrote Bidayah al Nihaya? Was it Ibn Kathir?
Yeah, Ibn Kathir. Ibn Kathir.
Yeah, Ibn Kathir, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
Ibn Kathir. Yeah. Okay. So
So
you
yeah,
want to
let's
continue
get
with
back.
the video?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure, sure.
let's get back to the circus again. Okay, right.
By the way, can I see like the slide? Let's take a look at this and see if I missed anything.
Okay, sure. I mean, I have paused there, so yeah. Can you see it?
No. Yeah, I can see it.
Right,
Can you
you see it
remove
now?
the comment?
Yes, of course. Yeah, sorry about that. Yep. Okay.
Okay. So then he mentioned Malek Mogra, angel of proximity, in Sufi writings. Hamambali, 965 AD, 340 years later. Hold on. Okay. Can you make it bigger?
Yeah, let me try. I'm trying to make it bigger. Yeah, like that, right?
I can see it. You need to make it a little bit. Go full screen.
Yeah, I've already put it in full screen actually. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah,
No,
it's full
I.
screen now.
Yeah, okay.
Wrong man,
Oops.
wrong place, wrong.
Oops.
So can you pause it?
Constitution Medina, Muslims always like to say proof.
No, go back.
Sorry.
And
First of all, take a
comment on
look and
something.
read the Constitution of
Sorry.
Medina.
I accidentally played it. Sorry.
Yes,
Okay,
please.
let me go back. Yeah, okay, there you are.
Okay. So he talks about like the Sufi writings or something. So if the
Yeah.
Sufis adopted something, that doesn't prove or disprove anything. I mean, they can easily adopt writings of the Prophet, right?
Exactly.
Like, oh, what does it prove? I don't get it.
Exactly.
I don't get this guy.
Yeah. I mean, he's like I say, he's jumping here and there. Just applying
Yeah.
methodologies whichever it suits him.
So
Yeah,
he's saying
it's
that
not
just
consistent.
because later on
It's not
people
consistent.
wrote something, there's no earlier source for it.
Yeah.
Like, what is he saying? And to
Yeah,
my
exactly.
knowledge, we didn't see anything about Malik Mughra or something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so the next point he makes is Christian Egyptian medieval Arabic not used in any Arabs in Hijaz. So, like, this is clearly written by someone else, copying from earlier sources. So
Yeah.
why would it be written in like ancient Arabic or like
Yeah,
from
exactly.
a dialect in
Exactly.
Hijaz?
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, this is definitely yeah, it
And so
doesn't
basically, he
yeah.
thinks that like if someone writes something, it has to be exactly in that place in that era, which is nonsense.
It is nonsense. It is
Yeah.
nonsense. Yeah,
Like, what's the
it is
Bible?
nonsense.
He reads it in English. Doesn't mean it's written in English. Would it be real in English?
Yeah, exactly.
Like the stupidity of his logic is like,
Yeah.
anyway. So later on, he
Yeah.
says that Dhimmi laws began centuries later.
Yeah,
referred to.
exactly.
No,
No,
they didn't begin
no,
centuries later.
dhimmi laws existed way even during the time of the Prophet himself. So even
Yeah,
during the
yeah,
first Abbas, even during the first Khalif, the during the first Khulafa al Rashidun. Okay, so
yeah,
it's not centuries later. Okay,
yeah.
it's not
Okay,
centuries
so
later.
let's go to the conclusion. In
Yeah.
short, the monks of Saint Catherine Monastery in the 16th century needed protection from murdering Muslims all around. Then, so they forced this letter and then added Muhammad Islam's
And,
name and his
so
hand to give
so
it
were the Muslims so
authority to say
stupid
that.
that they would
So,
force for such a forgery in the first place?
yeah,
Even let's say if really this letter is a forgery and
yeah,
these monks created the first of all,
yeah,
he's saying that his fellow monks from a Christian are liars, are taught to
yeah.
lie. So he's accusing his own fellow Christians of being liars,
He's
of
throwing
being
Christians
deceivers.
under the bus
He
for
basically
his
is
speech.
throwing his own fellow Christians under the bus. He's claiming that they are liars. That's number one. Number
Yeah.
two, if this even if we assume that these monks really made forged this letter, do you
Hmm.
really believe that the Muslims will be so gullible as to believe that this letter is from the Prophet himself? Okay,
Yeah, exactly.
surely they would have done their due diligence and they would have checked for the authenticity, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, all right.
yeah.
And then thirdly, we know that this letter is a copy of a copy of a copy. So maybe the
Hmm.
original copy is already lost, but
Hmm.
this copy is was taken from an original copy.
Hmm.
So this letter, of course, this is not the original itself,
Hmm.
but this was a copy of the original.
Hmm.
So definitely, I'm pretty sure
It's not gonna be
Muslims at
fully
the time,
accurate.
yeah. So this is not so this claim is quite inaccurate. Okay, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
And
So yeah.
another thing is that so
Mm,
basically here he is committing the burden of proof fallacy. I mean, where is
yeah,
evidence that these
yeah,
monks were like devious?
yeah,
Like, does he have
exactly.
biography
Yeah,
on these monks? Does he know
yeah,
what they're
exactly.
like?
Yeah,
Does he have any evidence that
does,
they
does
actually fabricated
that
this?
yeah, exactly. Does he? I mean, basically, he's saying that he's accusing his fellow Christians of being liars. That's what he's saying. Yeah, that's even worse for him. You see,
Yeah,
because these people are monks. They're supposed to be pious
yeah,
Christians,
yeah,
and you're accusing pious Christians of being liars, of
yeah,
being deceivers. Wow.
yeah,
I wonder who they learn it from. I wonder who they learn it from, right? Yeah.
yeah.
So you're
Also,
accusing
another
your
thing.
fellow.
So
Yeah.
basically, he
Yeah.
says that they force this to like gain audience or like get favor of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Muslims.
Yeah.
Then how do you know that like your Bible isn't doing the same thing? Like we can make the
Exactly.
same kind of
Exactly.
like argument.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Again, there's no
Mm.
evidence for any of this. It's just a baseless claims.
No. He's just making claims, but there's no evidence. He doesn't quote a proper source which supports his claim. Okay,
Yeah,
that's the thing. Yeah, he's just making claims and throwing accusations here and there, but he's not proving
and
anything.
making fallacious
Mm.
arguments. And this guy
Yes,
is supposed to be an
exactly,
expert.
exactly, exactly. And
Regarding,
even
yeah,
from a theological perspective, he's accusing, like I said, he's accusing his fellow Christians of being liars, which I think is even worse than saying that they forged something.
mm.
Okay, right? Okay. So anyway,
Yeah. Let's
so
continue.
shall I continue with the video?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sure.
Yeah. So hello.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
It's yeah, yeah, sure.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, I can
Oh,
hear you.
yeah. Okay. Sorry. I think I muted. Sorry. I muted my browser. Okay. So do you want me to play with the video?
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. Play, play.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry about the technical just now. I accidentally muted myself. Okay.
No problem.
Wrong man, wrong place, wrong letter. The Constitution of Medina that Muslims always like to say proved that Muhammad had existed. First of all, take a look and read the Constitution of Medina and tell me what Jew would have signed that Constitution. No Jew would have. Though it's pro-Jewish, there is no Jewish records of it.
He's already
There's
making
no
a false claim
archaeological
right
evidence
from the
of any
beginning.
Jews living that far
Mhm.
south. Not that early, not in the 7th century. And so you can see where and when did this really get put together. We don't know of any reference of this until Ibn Hisham writes it in 833. So the first reference we have of this is 200 years after the fact. Therefore, the historians, people like Hoyland and Andrews, consider it a fraud because there was no Jews that far south, and the only source for it comes from the 9th century Muslim traditions. Again, much, much too late. The Doctrine of Iacobi, probably one of the most famous documents. This is the one
Hold
that
on.
Muslims are
Pause,
always
pause.
Okay.
looking at.
Okay. You want to go back to the Constitution of Medina?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Let's go
No,
back there.
I think I want to respond to his point regarding the Jewish thing.
Yes, yes, yeah. That is quite a silly point. So maybe yeah, go ahead and make your take on it. Yeah.
Hold on, let me just pull it up. Okay, so uh, let me share the screen. Uh, Here we go. Can you see it? Can you share the screen?
Yeah, sure, sure. Check.
Yeah, okay. So
Yep.
this is a
Yeah.
book called Arab Jewish Literature by Reverend Snare, and
Okay.
she writes about pre-Islamic Jewish poets living in Mecca and Medina.
Ha ha ha. Ha
She
ha.
quotes, she
There you
quotes,
go, Jay Smith. You old fart. There you
she
go.
quotes like a Jewish. Hold on, let me just read from it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Uh, Hold on. By the way, she's a Jewish. She's Jewish herself, I think.
Okay, that's cool.
Hold on.
So basically, Jay Smith is claiming that there were no Jews living in Arabia during the time of the Prophet, right? That's what he's claiming also.
Well, let me just. I can find the passage.
Yep. Go ahead. Go ahead. Take your time.
Okay, so here, let's read from here.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
There were Jewish poets in the pre-Islamic period, and one of the
Okay.
most notable of them was the female poet Sarah al-Kuzaina, or Quraizia, whose
Yeah.
elegy for the 350 noblemen and her tribe killed in a battle in 492 AD has been frequently cited in Arabic sources. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
we possess many more details about Jewish poets from the 6th century AD, when
Haha.
Arabic language came into its own, along with appearance of poetry of high-standing Jewish community flourished throughout the era. Arabian Peninsula and Jews were integral part of Arab society. Although the Arabic language had been used by Jews in Arabia before Islam,
The surviving literally works. Yeah.
their surviving literary works from that period do not exhibit any features that would distinguish them from similar works by their non-Jewish counterparts. They participated in the making of local culture, a main manifestation of which was their poetry. Jewish tribes had distinguished poets, and the personal integrity of one of them became proverbial in Arab tradition. This was Al-Samawil ibn Adiyah. He
Someone.
was he has since been commemorated by saying Alpha min al-Samwa, more loyal than
Someone.
Al-Samai, which uh, refers to the refusal to hand over weapons that had been entrusted to him, even when a Bedouin chieftain laid siege to his castle in Tanya north of Al-Madinah and threatened to
Taimah.
murder his son, which he eventually did when Al-Samia was steadfast in his refusal, describing the moral superiority of his own Arab Jewish tribe. Al-Samia composed a poem about the noble qualities of Arab men. The opening verse runs as following: "When a man's honor is not defiled by baseness, they even cloak they even they, the, then every cloak he cloaks himself is incomely."
Mm.
Al-Samawal's poetry, which has been highly regarded in the Arabic literature tradition, testifies to the existence of a past in which no one would consider being an Arab and being a Jew at the same time to be paradoxical. So you can clearly
Yeah.
see, and she gives sources that there were Jewish, Jewish Arab
There were
poets,
Jewish
and
tribes. Yeah, there
they
were Jewish.
lived there,
They
and
lived
they
during the time of the
integrated into the
Prophet.
culture,
Yeah,
and we have
exactly.
countless historical and archaeological evidence of this. And she cites
Yes,
sources
exactly, exactly.
like
And then
even she
along,
talks about
and then
yeah,
yeah, and then along comes this old fart and denies that this existed. Yeah, you see, based on
yeah,
what exactly? No idea. Yeah, what is it?
yeah,
No archaeological evidence of Jews in Medina. This is totally a false statement, right? It's
yeah.
totally a false
So
statement. Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, and she also says that in the 7th century AD, when Islam became the dominant faith and the defined legal and social framework of the Arabs, Jews together, with Christians and Persians Zoroastrian as well, were considered to be proteges, al Dhimma, of the new community. Jews throughout the Muslim empire were well acquainted with the emerging Islamic literature, were deeply influenced by it. So yeah, we even have many reverts to Islam
Yeah.
at the time of the Prophet. For example, Abdullah bin
Yeah.
Salam, he's a rabbi,
Yeah. Abdullah bin Salam. Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
and a
Yes. Yes.
companion of the Prophet. Hold on,
Yes.
let me
Yes.
just
Of course.
pull
Yeah.
it up.
Of course, Jasmine is going to deny this. He's just going to say, "Oh, Abdullah bin Salam is a fiction." That's the best he can do to deny this. To just deny this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, without evidence. Of course. Yeah.
Here we go. So basically, he was a rabbi that was born in Medina. Hold on. It's this one. Yeah, yeah, there we go. Abdullah bin Salam ibn al Harith was a rabbi of aristocratic stock before converting to Islam. So yeah, he was a rabbi, and like this guy is saying, like Jews didn't
Yep.
exist; they just came out of
Yep. Yep.
they
They came
just
out of nowhere. Yeah. Basically,
yeah,
he's saying that they came out of nowhere, and Muslims are making it up. But why
yeah.
would we want to
We,
make up this story anyway? What purpose does it serve?
by the way, he's a narrator of hadith, right? Look at
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
He had students, multiple students.
Yeah.
Abu Huraira actually was one of his students. Look at this.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. That's very
And he
interesting.
learned directly from Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
Yes. Of course. Of course. Yeah.
So, and again, we have books, by the way, it gives references. For example, you can read about this in Al
Oh.
Isbia,
This is
Faqih.
basically
Yeah,
Kitab Al Rijal online.
yeah, yeah. Tariqul
Cool.
Kabir, Siyar Alam, Tadib al Tadib. Yeah,
Mm.
and they give like chains and narrations.
Cool. Cool. Cool.
So, yeah.
Amazing. Wow. Cool. Cool. Okay. Definitely. Definitely. The old farts claim is totally false, right?
Mhm. So
So you want to go
basically,
to his? Yeah.
let me
Yeah.
boil down his argument
Yeah.
and explain why it's false. So basically, he's
Yeah.
saying that
Mm.
the Constitution of Medina is false because there were no Jews there.
Yeah.
Well, there were
Yeah.
Jews there.
Yeah. There are Jews there, right? Yeah.
Even
So the rest
Quran
of his.
mentions Jews. Even the
Yeah.
Quran mentions
Yeah.
Jews
Yes.
constantly.
Exactly. Yeah,
So
exactly.
who
So
who is the Quran referring to?
yeah. Yeah. The rest of his statements is very subjective. He says that he contradicts the Sirah and the Hadith statement of Jews, which is much more cruel according to whom no Jew would sign a treaty which gives Muhammad the authority between men and God. According to whom, yeah, it's so subjective, right?
Yeah.
Muslims shouldn't accept the treaty as it contradicts so much of the Quran's view of Jews. What? According to whom? See, so all these are all fallacious. This is all this especially this last statement. Yeah, Muslims shouldn't accept the treaty as it contradicts so much of the Quran's view of Jews. Why should we not accept the treaty? I mean, what
Yeah, exactly.
according to
And
whom?
by
A
the way, didn't the
contradiction according to whom? I mean, to your Christological lenses, to your biased Christian view of the Quran, which concerning the Jews, because the Quran doesn't say anything
Mhm,
about the Jews that we don't know already. Okay, and the Quran acknowledges that the Jews had the truth, had the book, but
mhm,
some of them
mhm.
perverted the
Yeah, who
message,
is
and
it
some,
talking about?
yeah. So who exactly? So why is Jay Smith suddenly claiming or trying to say that Muslims shouldn't accept the treaty because it contradicts the Quran? On what authority does he say that this treaty, the Constitution of Medina Treaty, contradicts the Quran? He's definitely not saying this out of love for the Quran, that's for sure. Okay.
Hmm.
So you are
Yeah,
Jay
let's.
Smith, Jay Smith, if he's listening right now, Jay Smith, you have absolutely no authority to tell us Muslims what to accept and what to not to accept. Okay. Yeah, all
Mhm,
right. Yeah. So
mhm.
that's the whole point. Okay. So he shouldn't be, running his mouth like this, and it's
Hmm.
clearly that he has absolutely no authority to say this. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. So
Yeah, let's continue. Let's continue.
you want to continue this? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
First reference we have of this is 200 years after. There was no Jews that far south from the only source. Doctrine Iacobi,
That's not
probably
true
one of the
either.
most famous documents.
Yeah, of
This is
course.
the one that Muslims are always throwing at me. David, I don't know if you realize this one, but when you look at this, you can see this, first of all, doesn't talk about Muhammad. It talks about a Saracen prophet who comes with a sword and has the keys of paradise. Does that sound
How
like
many
something you
Saracen? Sorry, I just need to ask this. How many Saracen prophets do you know came with the sword, inverted commas, and claims to hold the key of paradise?
Maybe he thinks Jesus was Saracen.
Maybe he thinks because Saracen is clearly a reference to Arabs. Okay, it's a reference to an Arab prophet. Okay, of
Yeah.
course the
No, maybe
claim that
maybe
okay,
maybe he thinks
yeah,
that Jesus was
mm.
Saracen.
I don't know. That is very hard to say because the thing is Christians because he himself admits that this is a Greek Christian polemical tract, and we know that Christians love to claim that Islam was spread
Hmm.
by the sword. So who else does it refer to? I mean, who else would Christians allege that that the religion comes with a sword? Okay, except for Islam.
Hmm.
Okay, so basically, it's contradicting his own Greek source, which
Yeah, yeah,
is a polemical response to Islam.
yeah.
You see?
By the way,
You see?
his
Yeah.
first point is the Saracen prophet can say the Christ who was to come. Why not? I mean, we know that Prophet
Uh,
Isa salam would come back.
yes,
It's
yes,
part of our
yes, yes,
tradition.
yes, exactly, exactly. So, yeah, okay. So anyway, I'll play the video and then the rest of the video, and then I will stop at the end of it, right? Okay, to
When you
address
look
the.
and see what it says, you can see that according to this doctrine, this Iacobi, which was supposedly written around 630.
By the way, one more point. Like on the second point, he says that it assumes. Can you pause it? It
Yeah,
assumes
yeah,
that in
yeah.
that Muhammad is alive in 634, but the traditions say he died in 632. Again, why are you accepting the tradition? I thought the traditions are unreliable.
Yeah, I mean you're inconsistent. Why are you being inconsistent? But then
Yeah.
again, I think this confusion with dates is because he's using the he's calculating based on the Gregorian calendar
Hmm.
as opposed to the Hijri calendar, because the Hijri calendar does say that I mean, if you use the calculation from the Hijri calendar, then the
Hmm.
prophet would have died at in 6 632. Okay,
Hmm.
632.
Hmm.
So and
By the way,
there's about
can
4 years,
we?
there's about
I
4 years
have the.
difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah.
go
Let's
ahead.
just say. No, no. Please go ahead.
Oh,
I
okay,
keep
I was
cutting you
going
off.
to.
I'm sorry about that.
No, it's okay, it's okay. Basically 634 here 64, the year 64 is based on the Gregorian calculation, whereas 632 AD is based on the Hijri calculation. The
Hmm.
Hijri calendar, we know, he has 30 days each. So if you use the
Hmm.
30 days calculation for every
Hmm.
month, so it will be
Hmm.
632 AD. Okay, but if
Hmm.
we use the Gregorian calendar only
Hmm. Hmm.
to calculate the dates, then the prophet would have been still been alive in 634, and he would have passed away, I
Hmm.
think, 635 or something. There's a
Hmm.
4 year gap difference. There's a 4 years gap difference between
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
Gregorian calendar and the Hijri calendar.
Hmm.
So again, this is this old fight being devious here. Okay, because this is just a
Also,
different.
another
Yeah.
thing, another
Mm,
thing. If you
mm.
read, I actually have the text. Can I share it?
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead and share.
Okay. So if you read the actual text, it is written by Christians who hated the Muslim army. So obviously they are not like scholars in Islam. They don't know anything. They're just seeing this army coming to invade. Okay, and
Yes,
they're like
yes,
using it as a point of propaganda to see these people are barbaric and whatnot because they're losing.
exactly, exactly.
So it could be that they got the date wrong. Like it's not a point against anything.
Yes,
That doesn't
true,
mean
true.
like
So it doesn't mean that the dates are that is
yeah.
accurate as well. If we look at it from the perspective of the Christians, right? Because it's a polemical work. So why
Hmm.
would they want to make it accurate? Because they hate Islam and they just want to attack
Hmm.
the religion, right? Because
Hmm.
the Muslim army is approaching and so on.
Hmm.
So they need to find justification for their position,
Hmm.
right? So
Hmm.
yeah, so it doesn't matter whether the date is correct or not. So they, of course, they will
Hmm.
just they will just simply put in whatever they can in order
Hmm.
to push in a polemical viewpoint, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah,
Can we read the can we read the thing?
the text, you
Uh,
mean?
yeah, yeah. Let me read it. When the
Okay, go ahead.
Candidates was killed by the Saracen, I was at the Caesarea and I set off by boat to Skymania. People were saying the Candidates has been killed, and we Jews were overjoyed. And they were saying that the Prophet had appeared, coming with the Saracens, and he was proclaiming to advent of the anointed one, the Christ who's to come. By the way, it doesn't say Jesus; it just says Christ who's to come. If you use his logic.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
anyway,
exactly,
I,
exactly.
having arrived at Skymania, stopped by a certain old man well versed in scripture and said to him, "What can you
Yeah.
tell me about the prophet who has appeared with the Saracen?" He replied, groaning deeply, "He is false, for the prophets do not come armed with swords." Okay, so I have some comment here. Has this guy ever read the Bible? Like, seriously? What did Moses come with when he was slaughtering like babies? So
Yeah,
we
it
can clearly
doesn't
see this. He has, yeah.
for them it doesn't really apply. You see, the laws in the Bible doesn't apply to them. You know, you see that's the problem. When you know when if Islam comes with the sword, it's considered horrible and devious. But if in the Bible, you know, Moses came with a sword, and I think I've read the passage from Numbers 31 the other day, right?
Hmm,
So he was taught to rape and basically to murder and kill all the Midianites.
hmm,
That's fine for them. That's fine for the Christians. Suddenly the Christians just forget about it. They shut one eye to it. You know.
hmm, hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, as you can see, this is clearly a Christian polemical work, and if we like see it from this angle, it can completely make sense from that point of view that they are being attacked by the Muslims, but they don't know anything about them,
Yeah,
so they're
yeah.
just saying they just
So
heard maybe that
basically,
they're yeah.
is they know that a prophet existed. They are
Hmm,
aware
hmm,
that a prophet from among the Arabs have existed. It do
hmm,
exist. Okay,
hmm,
and
hmm,
they want to polemicize the issue, right? They want to
hmm,
polemicize it. So they
hmm,
just simply come up with ideas and facts just to attack Islam. But that
hmm,
doesn't mean they don't acknowledge that the prophet is a real person. Okay,
hmm.
and that's the whole point. See,
Also,
of course,
the
yeah,
text doesn't say the prophet is alive. By the way, it simply says that
yeah,
uh,
yeah,
that
yeah.
coming with the Saracen, the prophet had
Okay.
appeared
Wa alaikum
coming with the
salam,
Saracens.
yeah, brother. Yeah, from he also said to you, yeah,
Yeah. Oh, oh, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
By the way,
yeah.
it doesn't say that he's alive,
Okay.
and even if it did, it still doesn't matter. They're like Christians; they don't know when the prophet died or anything. They
Exactly,
just know that they're
exactly,
being attacked.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So the point of the polemical treaty is not to be an accurate account
Hmm.
of Islam. Anyway, it's meant to be
Yeah.
polemical, right? But that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that they don't know about the existence of the prophet. That's the whole point of this being used as a evidence for the existence of the prophet.
Hmm.
Compare that to the Christian history. We don't
Hmm.
have any documents saying Jesus existed. Okay,
Hmm.
until way later in the way years later. Okay,
Hmm.
after Jesus was raised to the heavens. So there's
Hmm.
no early document saying the
Hmm.
name of Jesus. Okay,
Hmm.
even the best document that they can come up with
Hmm.
is a statement from Josephus, the Jew, the Jewish
Hmm.
historian, who wrote of a Jew of a Jew who was crucified. But some scholars actually dispute that statement because they say that this text was added in later, okay, far later by Christian. So Josephus himself did not write this statement that a Jew named Jesus was crucified. Okay,
Oh,
so that's the best evidence that the Christians have about of Jesus existed in first century Palestine. Okay,
yeah.
yeah. So and even that being disputed by scholars. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
real scholars.
But
Okay, not mythicists. Huh? Mm,
yeah.
mm,
So by the
yeah.
way,
Mm, mm.
there's by the way, this is from Islamic awareness, and again, he quotes so many different places where it is mentioned. The prophet is mentioned by the name.
Yep.
For
Yep.
example, this
Yep.
is a record of Arab conquest of Syria from 15 to
Yep.
16 Al-Hijri or 637 CE.
Yep.
It is a much faded manuscript,
Yep.
and it mentions them being attacked by the Muslims. It says in January they took the horse for their lives. The sons of Emesa and many other villages were ruined with the killing by the Arabs of Muhammad. So yeah,
Mm,
yeah, they
yeah.
literally name drops him,
Yep.
says his name,
Yep. Yep.
and there are
Say his
countless.
name
He gives
exactly.
countless example of
Yeah.
Arabs of Muhammad.
Exactly. Yep.
So Muhammad Rasul
Yeah.
means
This
again,
Thomas the Prevester. Yep. Yep.
yeah, yeah,
Yep. This guy. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
640 again. So
Mm.
again, whose name was
That's
Muhammad,
so Muhammad. Yeah. Exactly. Yep. 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 Yep.
whose little mother was Muhammad.
Understand. Yeah. Another guy. Yeah. Muhammad as well. Yeah.
666. So yeah, we can
Yeah.
see
Oh.
countless example of this.
Countless of
And
examples from Christian sources
yeah,
themselves, whether
by the way,
polemical or
yeah,
otherwise. Yeah. Mm,
yeah.
mm, mm.
You guys, if you guys want to see it, we'll put the links in the description or in the
Yep.
pin
Of
comment
course.
maybe.
of course,
So,
yeah. Yeah, actually, Islamic awareness has already refuted this old fart long time ago. Okay, it's just that he's just repeating the same claims over and over and over again. Okay, he thinks that because he could get away with tricking the new generation of viewers,
Mhm,
people will not be
mhm,
aware of his lies. You see,
mhm.
so you see he reinterpreted. You see this the document Doctrina Ayakobi clearly refers to an Arab prophet, but he tries to interpret it with a Christological slant. So suddenly, this prophet has the keys of paradise. He claims that this confronts Islamic traditions, and then
Mm,
he said that this prophet refers to Christ. Suddenly, this second prophet is the Christ. Okay,
mm,
and then keys of paradise is a reference to Matthew chapter 16 verse 19. And
mm.
then suddenly, no, this is all Christological interpretation, eisegesis. Okay, we call it eisegesis upon
Yeah,
the text, because the text
yeah,
clearly does not say anything about a Jewish prophet who lived in
yeah.
first century
It doesn't say
Palestine.
anything about
Yeah,
Christianity.
yeah, it's clearly talking about a prophet who rose up among the Arabs carrying a sword. Okay,
Yeah,
who claims
yeah.
to have the keys of paradise, and this is exactly what Islam is bringing. Okay, Islam is saying that it has the keys of paradise. Okay,
Mm,
so it's right from the beginning we can see this guy. He's just making a spin of everything. Yeah.
mhm.
So want to continue with the video again?
Yeah, let's continue.
All right. Okay, give me a moment. All right.
34. That controverts the traditions. That he has the keys to paradise. No, this prophet fits more a Judeo-Christian monotheistic background. And he has the
Because
keys to paradise is
Judeo-Christian
also referring to
prophets can
Matthew
only have
Because
16.
the keys of
yeah,
So
paradise.
because only
interesting
only
because
only
it's
Jewish
written
prophets can have the keys to paradise, not Arab prophets. Huh?
What in
Yeah.
the world would this be referring to a guy who doesn't speak any Aramaic? I don't remember Muhammad.
Wait, hold on. Can we pause?
Okay. Let me pause this.
Conclusion, there is no reference to the name Muhammad on this document, no reference to this prophet.
All right.
Okay, so he says that spoke Aramaic. Why does it say that he spoke Aramaic?
Yeah, nothing about it. There's nothing. There's nothing in that text just now that you read which has anything to mentioning Aramaic. Okay.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
doesn't say anything. He just says, "Hey, who's
Yeah, exactly.
who
It
is
is.
it?"
In fact, it says a Saracen prophet. I mean, it is he cannot get
Yeah,
away
Saracens
around
means
it.
Arab.
Yeah, Saracen means Arab. It doesn't say Jewish prophet. I mean, are you suddenly you're claiming that Jesus was an Arab? Okay, and plus it's a polemical track. It's actually attacking the religion of the prophet. So
Yeah,
of this particular prophet. So if this is a reference to Jesus, are you saying that this Christian polemical writer is attacking his own religion?
yeah,
You see, because the whole point of this polemical article track is to attack Islam. Okay, it clearly refers to Islam, right? Or
mhm,
X religion, right? To attack that particular religion, X religion of this Saracen prophet. So if
mhm,
J. Smith is suddenly interpreting this to be a Christian document about Jesus,
mhm,
so this writer, this Greek Christian writer, is attacking his own religion. Is that what he's trying to say? Yeah, it
yeah,
doesn't make any sense, right? It doesn't totally illogical. Okay, it's totally
yeah.
illogical. You see, yeah. So yeah. So you want to continue playing this?
Actually,
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
like even in the text itself, it mentions that
yeah.
the Jesus could be the real prophet or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yes. Exactly.
So
Exactly.
how can
So
it be about Jesus?
exactly. Exactly. That's the thing. Yeah.
It
He's
mentions
not making any
Christ.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. He mentions Christ in a separate way, right? Not
yeah.
Saracen.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it doesn't make any sense. This guy is totally. He's way beyond himself. Okay. Anyway, let's continue. Right.
He's a
Okay.
yeah.
But being a Muslim or belong to the religion Islam or any reference to the city of Mecca, nor of his book, the Quran, he could be almost anybody.
Why would
Why?
mention all these
Why?
details?
Why we should mention Mecca and Medina and Kaaba, etc. I mean, this is supposed to be a polemical track, right?
Yeah,
It's not supposed to be a theological track. It's not even supposed to be pro-Islam.
yeah.
Yeah, he's not making any sense here. It's
No,
supposed to be a track attacking Islam. So of
yeah,
course
yeah,
he's not going to mention Mecca, Medina, etc. Okay.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my God. Okay. Okay.
What happened? He
No,
just
he's
disappeared.
I think his video froze. It's not my side. It's his like maybe I'll forward this. All right.
Of
Even
Islam.
his videos, like this guy's
Yeah,
gone.
his videos also is rebelling against him.
Of Islam, according to what
His
David's
video is
talking
also
about,
rebelling.
been controlled
Yeah.
from the time of Muawiyah. And that's, I understand, and I would agree. Muawiyah is historical. So therefore, from Tripoli all the way over to Afghanistan, that would have been under his control, which is an enormous amount of land. So therefore, somewhere amongst all that area, that's the brown and the orange, there should be some reference to Muhammad somewhere, right? One reference to Muhammad and I'd be satisfied. By the time of 680, we're talking about 50 years after Muhammad. Where is David able to show me one reference to this man named Muhammad that he's talking about?
We just did, right? We just showed a whole list of tracks showing.
Can I just share
Yeah.
the screen?
Yeah, go ahead and share.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, because he's asking the question to David, right? Because David is for the soul. Yeah, for
Here we
it.
go.
Yeah,
Okay,
but so we're going to give him. So we're going to give. Yeah. So we're going to give him the answer
Arabs
now.
of Muhammad.
Yes, Muhammad. Yes.
Arabs of Muhammad.
Yeah, Arabs of Muhammad. Yes.
His name
Yes, Muhammad. Yes. Yes.
Leaders of Muhammad.
Yep. There you go, Jay Smith. You old fart. We just gave you the answer. Yeah, you don't need to ask David, the
To go to
psychopath.
seat
Because we
above.
Muslims, they give you the answer, right? Yeah, we have so many evidence here. Okay. Yeah. Protection of Muhammad.
Yeah.
Yes, again. Yeah. And of course, all the seals and the coins. These are all the coins, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
On the coins.
Yeah, the coins. Yeah, which has the Shahad.
Oh.
Muhammad again.
Muhammad.
Yes.
By the way, there's one other evidence that I just hold on. Let me just I can find it.
Yeah.
Okay, here, this one, I think. Okay. So there is a rock inscription.
Yeah.
That is very old. It's from the 699.
This 60. Yeah, this 80 Hijri. This is the first century of Hijrah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
Again, this is written in Hijazi script.
Okay. Yes.
So, which is again in from Mecca.
Yep.
So again, the translation of the inscription. By the way, this is in the 7th century. It says, "O Lord, bless Muhammad, the prophet."
Muhammad again. There you go. Muhammad.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The prophet and accept.
So what a nonsensical question you just asked, Jay Smith. It's a really nonsensical question.
By the way, this is actually a dua, I think.
Yeah, it's a
that
dua.
is written.
Yeah, it's a dua.
Written by Abu Bakr.
Yeah, it's a dua. Yeah.
So yeah,
it's a dua. Yeah. We have tons of evidence. Yeah, we have tons of scriptural evidence, Jay Smith. Okay.
Again, like this is known as the fallacy of suppressed evidence. By the way, can I share the screen so that people know what this fallacy is?
Answering this brother for he's saying Jay Smith lives in his misguided bubble. Yep. He does. He lives in his bubble world of conspiracy theories and revisionist studies, which he has no authority to speak of because he doesn't have a degree. Okay, he doesn't even have a doctorate or a degree in Islamic studies. Okay, so you were going to share something?
Hold on, let me just pull it up.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. So by the way, our stream is already 1 hour and 57 minutes. Wow. Okay, not bad. Okay, good. He even failed his Arabic studies. Yep, that's true. That's correct. He wanted to take
there's a
his
video
master's degree.
on suppressed evidence. Maybe you can check it out. Hold on.
Yeah. Go ahead and share your screen, okay, and then we can show it to the audience. By the way, there's 4 people right now watching our stream. Not bad.
It's a very long stream. Hold on. So basically, here this guy explains what suppressed evidence fallacy is. Let's hear
February with the 22nd philosophy and eternity. For today, we're going to be continuing the fallacies of presumption, looking at the fallacy of suppressed evidence. So, the suppressed evidence fallacy is going to be when you ignore an important piece of evidence that outweighs the other pieces of evidence. It's taking quotes out of context, and it's purposefully or not omitting important information. Let's take a look at a couple of examples of this fallacy. So, generally, streets are safe to walk down. Therefore, we should be able to walk down this street without harassment. This would commit the fallacy if, for example, that street you're about to walk down is known for a lot of violence or has had a lot of really unfortunate activity recently. Egypt did not have a revolution for most of the second half of the 20th century. Therefore, Egypt will probably not have a revolution in the 21st century. The evidence that the Arab Spring happened, and Egypt had at least 2 revolutions already in the 21st century, and they're probably going to have some more.
So
Yes.
basically, that's what he's doing.
Yes.
It's fallacy
yes.
of suppressed evidence.
Yes, exactly.
And he's supposed to be an academic. He should know these things.
I don't think he's an academic. That's the thing. I never believed for even 1 second that he's ever qualified to be an academic. Okay. Okay. So okay.
Yeah, let's continue.
Yeah, sure. I'm trying to share the screen now. Wait, let me see what happened to my screen. Where is it? Yeah, this one. Okay, can you see it?
Not yet. Yeah, I can see.
Okay, you can see it now, right? Okay, let me play it.
Gary, swab of land from Afghanistan. Let's start with the Quran. Okay, let's look at the Quran. 4 references to Muhammad in the Quran. Chapter 3, verse
Sorry, excuse me, who's Murad? Who the F is Murad, and why is this fella suddenly an expert in Quranic studies or whatever it is?
Murad
Okay,
says,
that's 1 point, right? Okay. Anyway, let's continue. Yeah.
this is also fallacy, by the way. Appeal to false
Sure.
authority.
Yeah.
Like,
Appeal
if
to
you're appealing
authority.
to someone,
Yeah.
he actually needs to be an authority. Just because he's an
Yes.
Arab doesn't mean he's an
Yeah.
authority.
Exactly. This appeal to authority, right? Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, let's play this until the end.
Yeah,
So
sure.
Muhammad there, the name Muhammad means the blessed one. If you look and you understand that, Murad, who is a scholar in both
Who's
areas,
Murad?
is on our team. He's the one that's working for us from the Middle East. He has been saying, he's watching right now. He has been saying, look at the Arabic there. It's from Nabatean Aramaic. Did I not say that earlier? That this is Nabatean?
What's your evidence that this is from
When you look
Nabatean?
at that, it just talks about the blessed one is no more than a messenger. In every case, when you look at those 4 references, this could be of the Malik himself, referring to himself.
God,
Not
this
to a
guy.
man named Muhammad. Let's take a look at the Dome of the Rock, because that was also.
Oh my God. Okay. Let's
Pause.
address
Pause.
this. Yeah. Do you want to address this? Before I address this also?
Yeah. You should address this first. Let me just pull up
Okay.
some.
Okay. So
evidence.
basically, my first question is, who the F is Murad, and why is he suddenly talking about Islam and and language and philology when we don't know who this character is and what makes him qualified to say this? Secondly, this kind of methodology is similar to how Christoph Lusenberg. I don't know whether you heard of Christoph Lusenberg, Aki. There was this guy, German guy. He uses a pseudonym, Christoph Lusenberg. He wrote a book called The Syro-Aramaic of the Quran. Okay, so basically his premise is that the Quran was not originally written in Arabic. It's actually from Syro-Aramaic. So he claims that certain terms in the Quran can only be understood if you refer back to the Syro-Aramaic version of it. So he's trying to claim that the Quran is not in pure Arabic. Okay, so this guy here is doing the same thing. Okay, he's saying the blessed one. He's trying to translate the name of the prophet of the prophet. This verse number Surah 33 verse 40. The blessed one is actually Muhammad. So it should.
But may I ask, what
Yeah.
evidence do they use, like when they make
Exactly.
that claim?
No, basically they just say that because some of the words in the Arabic is difficult to understand, therefore he has to go to a primordial source. So the earliest language that is earlier than Arabic is Aramaic. So this is what they claim. Okay.
Again, that's a fallacy as well. That's
Yes,
false fallacy.
it is a
That's
fallacy.
because something has
Yeah.
similarities,
Yes,
and
exactly.
you can make
It
sense in a way. It doesn't necessarily mean that's the cause of it.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
For example,
Yeah, it is
there
a
are a lot
fallacy.
of different languages that are similar.
Yeah.
Like, for example, Hindi is very similar to Urdu.
Yes.
So if you read a lot of like Hindi scripts,
Yeah.
you'll find similarities with Urdu.
Yes,
Does it mean
of
that
course.
text itself is now
It's not
copying from
Urdu.
this
Yeah.
Urdu
Yes.
scripts?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Again,
Exactly.
it's just stupid fallacious logic. Like,
Yeah,
these
it's
people are
ridiculous,
supposed to be
yeah.
academic. They're
Exactly.
supposed to be writing to convince
I don't
us,
think that's the thing. I don't think these
and
people are
they're
academic.
using
They're just
stupid
yeah.
logic like this.
Yeah, they're just using academia to hide their
Yeah.
intentions to write polemical tracks like that Greek.
But that was
polemicists
shocking,
or
Aki, you mentioned this.
Mhm,
Actually saw a YouTube video which is supposed to be a religiously educational
Mhm,
YouTube video.
mhm,
It
mhm,
also mentioned this theory, I think, conspiracy
Oh,
theory.
it did. Oh, okay, yeah, because this theory has been circling around since 2000. I think it was 2004, 2005 when it
Yeah.
started. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
quite. It
Also,
was.
another
It's
thing
quite.
is that like
Yeah.
Syriac, like all the like Arabic language, it has the
Yeah.
same roots. So yeah, of
Yes.
course there are going to
Yes.
be some similarities. That's not.
Yes. But
But
yes. But that
what's
does.
the?
But that doesn't mean that the word in the Quran is not. Is
Yeah.
It's not Arabic. You see.
Yeah.
You see. Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So basically, this guy here, he's
Mm,
translating the name Muhammad
mm,
into the Blessed One. So
mm,
verse 30, verse here, this chapter, this verse here in Surah 33, verse 40. The
mm,
translation should be Muhammad is not the father of any of your men, but he is the messenger of Allah and the last of the prophets, right? But instead of saying Muhammad is not the father of any of your men, he translated the name Muhammad into the blessed one. He's not the
mm,
father of any of men, but he's the messenger of Allah and the last of the prophet. So he's trying to take away the name of the prophet and he's trying to make it a generic text, you see.
mm, 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 mm,
So suddenly it becomes so the based on this false translation, he's saying that none of them refers to a person called Muhammad.
mm.
Which is ridiculous because he's translating the name Muhammad into the blessed one. So of course
Mm,
there's no name person called
mm,
Muhammad if you are doing that, right?
mm.
So this is totally fallacious, you know. This is totally
Yeah, this is
fallacious.
also a fallacy. It's known as
Yeah,
the.
yeah,
I think it's called the equivocation fallacy, where you
yeah,
use the same
yeah.
language, which
Yes,
has two
yes,
meanings,
yes,
and you
yes.
interchange them without
Yeah,
accepting or
yeah,
revealing to your
yeah,
audience that you have changed the meaning,
yeah.
or
And then
or
look,
the
oh, by the way, look
or
at
the
this. Look at this
yeah,
statement. They most likely refer instead the blessed one,
yeah,
who could very well who could very well be Jesus. So he's saying that the blessed one here is Jesus. Okay, let's translate it. Okay, let's not forget. Let's just wear the Christian hat and let's not forget that they believe Jesus is God. Okay, they believe
yeah,
Jesus is literally God. Okay,
yeah,
so if I translate this, if I say blessed one is Jesus, I replace the word the blessed one with Jesus. Okay,
mm,
so Jesus is not the father of any of your men, but he's the messenger of Allah and the last of the prophets. So this sentence, if you put
yeah,
Jesus instead of Muhammad,
yeah,
totally contradicts Christianity
yeah,
because here the verse is
yeah.
saying
But he's not
that
a
Jesus is a
prophet.
prophet and that he's the last of the prophets. He's a prophet.
Yeah,
He's not a god. Okay, and then Surah verse chapter 3 verse 144. Okay, and
yeah,
he translated the name Muhammad to blessed one, right? And the blessed one is no more than a messenger. So
yeah,
let's replace the blessed one with Jesus.
yeah,
And Jesus is no more than a messenger. Wow, welcome to Islam. You just believe that Jesus is just a messenger, exactly as
yeah,
how Muslims believe.
yeah,
So if you're saying that this is a reference to Jesus, then you're already a Muslim. You see?
yeah.
You see? You
So
see?
can I just make some points on this? So basically, this is a fallacy known as the either equivocation or the ambiguity fallacy, where you have this sentence which can have different meanings, but he's only picking one meaning without ever justifying it or giving any evidence for it to mean the thing that he thinks it means, right? Like, where is this evidence that this Muhammad is referring to a the blessed one instead of referring to a name? Like, where is this evidence for this, right? So
Yes,
I,
exactly.
he
Exactly.
showed no
Yeah.
evidence for this. And now let me share something with you.
Go ahead, brother. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So you know that Prophet Sallallahu he had many names, right? So for example, here it says, and mentioned when Jesus, the son of Mary, said, "O children of Israel, indeed I am the messenger of Allah to you, confirming what came before me of Torah and bringing good tidings of a messenger to come after me, whose name is Ahmed." Okay. So who is Ahmed? Like, if it's supposed to be Jesus,
So
then
yeah,
who's Ahmed?
exactly. Yeah, who's Ahmad? So you see the text actually contradicts their own narrative, you see. So
Yeah.
it's like totally no, they're just simply picking and choosing certain
Yeah, yeah.
verses.
Also, to
Yeah,
finish
yeah.
this off, the Prophet had different names. And in a hadith, we can read the Prophet ﷺ, he himself said, I heard the Messenger ﷺ saying, I have several names. I am Muhammad and I am Ahmed. There you go. The Prophet ﷺ literally saying his name is Ahmed.
Exactly, exactly. So
Hold on,
you know
can you
you
share the
yeah.
screen? Share the screen,
Wait,
please.
okay, wait, hang on. Damn.
Can you share the screen? I thought you shared it. Yeah, yeah. Can you see it?
Yep, yep, I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah. I have several names. I am Muhammad and I am Ahmed. He also have other names as well. I am Al Mahi, and whom Allah blessed kufr. And I am Al Hashir, gatherer. So yeah, he has different names, and one of it is Ahmed. So yeah, and then again, it begs the question: like, who is Jesus talking about? Is he talking because he's clearly not talking about himself? But bro, I can hear you. You're muted. You're muted.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was just going to say that. Yeah, I mean this uh, hadith clearly, clearly identifies Ahmad with the prophet.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very difficult for Christians to try to impose a Christological understanding on the text. You see, so that's why they, like I said, they just simply pick and choose whatever verse that they want in order to
Mhm.
achieve a certain polemical objective. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. So yeah, from this you can clearly see that it's not definitely not Jesus. So yeah, let's continue, inshallah.
Okay, hang on. Let me bring up the video. Right. Okay.
But bro, what time is it over there? If you don't mind me asking.
It's 11:43 actually, or 11:43 p.m. Yeah. So do you want me to play the video?
Mm, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, okay. Hang on, yeah.
Muhammad. Let's take a look at the Dome of the Rock, because that was also constructed by Abdul Malik. Look at the inscriptions, the only original part of the buildings. There is reference I don't have time to go into, but almost every time when you look at the Shahada there, you can see that this is referring to a messianic figure, and it's more than likely than not,
Okay,
it
okay.
is
Can you pause it?
Byzantine Christianity that is there in Jerusalem.
Can you pause it? Okay, so again, he's bringing up the same argument, which is that the name Muhammad means the blessed one instead
Yeah,
of a
that's right.
name.
That's right. He's already making assumption that the
Yeah,
name
yeah,
Muhammad is not
yeah,
a name of person, it's a
yeah,
translation
yeah,
of
yeah,
or a
yeah.
title. You see, so there's a
Again,
fallacy, right?
it's a burden of proof fallacy. He has a
Yes, exactly,
burden of proof to prove this,
exactly,
but he provided
exactly.
no evidence. He just
Yeah, yeah,
assumed this is the case and
yeah.
argued
That's
from
right.
there, which is
Exactly,
fallacious.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. It's totally fallacious.
And
Yeah,
we showed that this is clearly not referring to Jesus, and we know that this is mentioning an Arab prophet, and we know that Ahmed is one of the name of the prophet. So again, this guys,
exactly,
again, continue,
exactly.
continue.
Yeah. Okay. Hang on. I want to share some comments from this brother. Okay. Hang on. Luxembourg is so dated. Yes, I agree with you, Aki. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah. All these theories, actually, these conspiracy theories, this naming system is actually came from Crystal Luxembourg. Actually.
Hmm.
That's why it's built looking up and down onto this,
Can we
the Church
pull
of
up
the
this
Sepulchre.
comment by
It's a
Brian Bradley?
one-upmanship by Abdul Malik, who's way up in
Pause this,
Damascus.
please.
I don't have time to unpack that. But what I really want to go to are probably the most
There's a comment.
Okay, okay,
I
yeah.
want to
Okay,
respond
give
to
me a
Brian Bradley.
moment. Yeah. What did he say? You both are men of the 21st century. Do you really believe that Muhammad flew to heaven on a winged horse? By the way, we pass. You seriously, you're asking me this question? Do you want me to bring evidence from the Bible where Elijah was carried off in a chariot? Okay, I'm going to show it to you right now. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now. Okay, give me a moment. Huh? Okay, okay. So I'm going to give you this evidence, and I think you're going to be embarrassed by this because this is from your Bible, right? Okay.
Yeah.
This is from your Bible. Okay, give me a moment to answer this question because this is kind of now this kind of games that Christians play. It actually backfires on them. Really, really
Then
shameful
he
way
says
for them.
Jesus is the way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is. Wait, let me see what he say. Jesus is the way. Yeah, Jesus is the way, but he's not the destination. You see, he's not a destination. He has never claimed to be the destination. Okay? We have no
Yeah.
problem saying that Jesus is the way, the truth, and
By
the
the
life.
way,
Okay?
just to address Bradley, Okay, yeah, you mentioned something. So what's wrong with it? Yeah, we believe
Yeah.
it happened. So what? Like, if an
Yeah. Okay.
all-powerful being exists, he can do way more miraculous thing than this. Like, this is nothing. Like, he can literally split the moon in half, which we also believe. So
Okay.
yeah,
So
yeah.
okay. So anyway, this is the verse from 2 Kings,
Mhm,
chapter 2, verse 2. Okay.
mhm.
Say okay. Yeah. So chapter not this one. Wait, let me. Okay, I think it's number 11. Yeah, okay. So this is about Elijah and Elisha walking together. So as they were walking along and talking, behold, a chariot of fire and horses of fire separated the two of them. And Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven. Wow. Okay. So okay. So I'm going to ask back the question. I'm going
Yeah.
to ask back the question to Brian. Okay, because you said uh you both are men of 21st century. Do you really believe that Muhammad flew to heaven? So I'm going to say to you, Brian, as a person of the 21st century, do you really believe that Elijah was carried off in a chariot of fire and horses made of fire up in a whirlwind to heaven? Do you really believe this? This is from your own Bible, all right? This is not something I made up. Okay. Yeah. So there, right back at you. Okay. Yeah. So I think that answers the question. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Right. Right. Okay. So shall we continue with the show
yeah,
again?
yeah. Sure. Let's continue.
Okay.
Let's finish
Yeah.
this
Let's.
up. I think we're
Yeah.
nearing the end. I think.
Yeah. I think we're going close to the end already. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Then inshallah we'll react to the rap song.
Yeah. Of course. Of course. Of course. Yeah. That's actually the highlight of the show, right?
Substantial authority that we're looking at today, and that is the coins. Let's look at the coins. Because the coins that are coming out, and this is all stuff that has come out this year, 2020.
Hmm.
Look at that swath of land and look and see what they now control. Anytime you have a new emperor or a new caliph like Abu Bakr or Umar or Uthman or Ali, the first thing any caliph or any king or any leader does is to mint coins. And they put their image on the coins, and they put their name on the coins, and they explain who they are, and they always say what the religion is, and they always say where the mint is. Look at the coins. This is evidence from the 7th century. Now look and see where they're minted. They're minted in 2 areas. One
Wa
in
alaikum
Syria,
salam, brother.
the other in Iran. None of them are in the Hijaz. Too far north again. Am I getting kind of boring saying the same thing over again? Everything
Yes.
you see happening in the 7th century comes from the north, not from the south. Not from that.
Oh my God.
Playing this game again.
Does
Oh
he
my
does he
God.
does he not know that people
This will
move
take me
around?
an hour to go through all this.
Things get
What you
move
do is
around.
start on the left.
He
Those
doesn't
are
seem
Arab
to realize
coins.
that lesson. You
Not
see,
that they
that's the
weren't minting
problem.
coins. They were minting
Like,
coins.
does it not register
Look
in
what's on
his
the
brain
coins.
that people
These
take things from one
leaders,
place
these
to
Arab
another
leaders,
place?
had crosses in their hands. They had crosses above their heads. Why would you be wearing a cross if you're a Muslim?
Wait, hold
No
on, hold on, hold
reference to
on.
Muhammad
Pause
or
this.
Okay,
any-
okay. Yeah. He's saying that there's a cross on the coin, right? So
No, he's saying
um
that there's a cross on like
on an Islamic coin, right? Yeah, that's what
yeah.
he's
No,
saying.
hold on.
Yeah.
Let me
I think this has already been answered by Islamic awareness, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he's saying that there's like a coin, cross on like
Yeah.
Umayyad coin
Yes, I know
or
my
whatever.
coin. Yeah. Yes.
So yeah,
yes.
can I share something?
Yeah,
Like,
go
I know
ahead. Go
which
ahead.
coin
Yeah.
he's talking
Go ahead.
about.
Yes. I know about this polemic as well, but you can go ahead. Yeah.
So again, I could be wrong here because I'm not sure this is the coin he's talking about. But this is the earliest coin
Yeah.
from what I know.
If it's the Umayyad coin, then yes, it is. It must be. Yeah. Yeah. I
Arab
think this is the
Sasanian
coin.
coin,
Yeah.
yeah.
This
Years,
is
yeah.
the correct coin.
Onwards.
Yes.
So
This is the coin. Yeah.
this
This
is
is
the coin. Let's
Yeah, with the
take a
Christian
closer look.
cross.
Can you
Yeah.
pause the video? It's
Yeah,
playing
I
in the
did pause.
background.
It's playing in the background. Wait, let me check. I thought I paused it. No, it's paused. It's paused.
Okay.
Yeah, it's paused.
So as you can see the picture, where's the cross?
Yeah.
Where's the cross?
Yeah.
Where's the
But it's
cross?
a Christian. I think this could be not be the coin. I don't know. I'm not sure because I think I do recall there was a coin with a Christian cross from the early Umayyad era. But that doesn't mean that
Yeah.
the coin is validating Christianity. By the way, it's just that because the Umayyads were expanding the empire, so they had to mint something quickly in order to prepare for trade. So what they did was they took the existing coins and they just inscribed the kalima, the shahada on it. Okay, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that they're validating the coin or they're validating Christianity or whatever. Okay, They're just
Yeah.
taking the, they're just reusing the Christian coins. That's all. The Byzantine coins.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
As currency, because they
For
were just
example, if
yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
didn't the Mongols, when did the Mongols first started, printing
Yeah.
the paper money?
Yeah.
It was years later, right? It was
Yes.
after they
Correct.
have already conquered different areas, they become
Yes.
powerful
Correct.
enough, and
Correct.
then they decided to like mint coins and
Yep.
make papers, etc.
Exactly.
They didn't
Exactly.
immediately
Exactly.
start
Exactly.
because an
Exactly.
empire needs time to build and conquer, and then they
Yes.
can make like economic
Exactly.
stability.
Exactly. Exactly.
So the fact
Exactly.
that
So
they didn't have any coins from earlier period doesn't prove
yes.
anything.
Exactly. Exactly. Correct. Correct. Yeah. So basically
By
to
the way,
mint
can
coins
you
or to
like
mint currency wasn't
can you like
wasn't
ban
yeah.
this person? I think he's trolling with
Who?
Brian Bradley. Why can't Muslims draw faces?
Nah, never mind. Just leave him be. He's not so far. He's not being that offensive. So I mean, why can't we answer this anyway? Why can't Muslims draw faces? Because we are not allowed to. Yeah, because it's forbidden in Islam
Yeah,
to draw
yeah,
images and idols. Okay, so I hope
yeah,
that answers the question. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Okay, yeah,
So yeah, by the way, this coin is from like 6th century.
yeah, yeah.
This Arab Sassan coin issued by Muawiyah radiallahu anhu. And again, it doesn't have any crosses.
Hmm.
You can see
Yeah,
there's no
yeah.
cross here.
Yeah, but basically it's like this. The early Muslims, they took the coinage of the early empires and they reuse it. It doesn't mean that Islam did not exist, that Islam was a fiction, or that
Mhm.
Islam, didn't, was,
Hmm.
didn't exist or was a creation. It's just that the
Hmm.
Muslims at the time, being practical for practical reasons, they
Hmm.
had to reuse the Christian coins. Okay,
Hmm.
they don't have time to mint coins. They were expanding the empire. They were at
Hmm.
war. Okay,
Hmm.
no time to make coins. That's all. Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. That's pretty much the story behind it. So J. Smith and his conspiracy theory is totally irrelevant here. You see?
Yeah.
Yeah,
By the way,
yeah.
let me share something else.
Yeah,
I
go
think
ahead,
it's
go
very
ahead, go ahead.
important.
Yeah, go ahead,
So
go ahead.
again, there is another earlier dated Hijazi inscription. This is from the 6th century as well, 644 CE. And this rock inscription actually mentions Umar radiallahu anhu. Umar radiallahu anhu. You see this? The name of
Sorry.
God.
Let me
Zuhair wrote
see.
this at the
Yep,
time.
yep.
Umar radiallahu anhu
Umar
died
died
in the year
in the year
4.
4. Yes, yes, yes. So it's
Again,
an
this is the
inscription, right?
inscription.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
dated
yeah,
to the 6th century.
yeah.
So yeah, we know there's Umar radiallahu anhu existed. We have countless archaeological evidence for it.
Thousands of evidence, unlike the Christian
Yeah.
ones. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Either way, let's continue with the let's end this.
Oh, someone just gave salam. Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Walaikum salam. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Oh, we have seven viewers now. Oh, six. You
Oh,
just dropped to
alhamdulillah.
6. Yeah. Not bad. Not bad. Not
Yeah, it
bad.
goes
Yeah.
up and down.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Let's
normal,
continue.
right?
Let's continue.
Yeah. Okay, let's continue with the video. I hope you're finishing towards the end.
Yeah, yeah,
It's quite a
almost.
lot. I hope it's finished to the end. Yeah. Okay, give me a moment. Let me pull this. And yeah, continue.
No reference to Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, or Ali.
We just refuted that, didn't we?
When you get to Muawiyah, finally Muawiyah in 661, he would be the first caliph in the Umayyad Caliph. Take a look at his coins in the West. The coins in the West are gold soliduses and they're copper coins. He himself has a cross on his head and he's holding a cross in his hand. He's a Muslim.
What?
What?
Where is
No
it?
reference to any
What cross?
Muslim,
How do you know that's Muawiyah?
no reference to any
Exactly. I
no
mean,
reference-
like I said, the early Muslims, especially during the Umayyad era, in the first phase
Yeah.
of the Umayyad era, they took the Christian coins and
Yeah.
they reuse it, and of course they have
Yeah.
to mark it with Islamic inscription. But of course, the Christian traces are still there. So the cross, unfortunately, the cross was still there, but they already inscribed it with the kalima. So that people know that this belongs to the Umayyads. Okay, but that doesn't mean they're validating Christianity or that the Prophet did not exist or whatever.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
see? Yeah,
By the way,
to any book called the
Christmas.
Quran and no
yeah,
But
yeah.
Christmas,
yeah.
is it Christian? Is it mentioned in the Bible?
Nope, nope, not at all. I mean, the date
Does
itself
it
is not
mean that
mentioned at all.
Christianity didn't exist?
Good question. Good question.
Why are they
Very
celebrating
good
a pagan
question.
holiday?
Exactly.
Isn't that like a
Exactly.
pagan holiday?
Yeah. Exactly. It is. It is a pagan. Yes, pagan origins. You see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, shall we continue? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay.
No reference to any city called Mecca. It is just blank on all these coins. Now, the coins are great because they are from the 7th century. They do not disintegrate. They do not deteriorate. We can look at them today, and we have not been looking at them until this year. Boy, I could go a whole time on coins because if you want to see what is the first Muslim coin, you've got to start with 692. That golden coin you see there, that's Abdul Malik. He is the first one to introduce Muhammad. He is the first one to introduce Shahad. And then he puts his own name on the 690.
That's not true. Like I just showed like 6th-century coin.
Yeah, this
And he's
guy
just
is
crossing it.
totally ignorant. Yeah, just because there were no earlier Umayyad coins which has the kalima doesn't mean that doesn't mean that
No,
Islam did
the
not
coin I
exist at the time
showed, it
anyway.
had no cross.
Yeah, yeah, no
It
cross
is very
idea.
early
Yeah,
coin.
yeah. So it's I mean, I think it could be a mixture anyway. So it doesn't matter whether there's a cross
If
or
he
not,
has
right?
this
Yeah,
picture of this coin, he needs to show
yeah.
it. I didn't see any like
Exactly,
coin like.
exactly.
And,
Yeah, he's just
and
making
how
claims
do you
without
know it's the
evidence.
coin used by the Muslims anyway?
Yep, yep. Exactly, exactly. Yeah. So you want to continue with this?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
War with them because he dares to do something that's different than the Byzantines want, proving that the influence is coming from Christianity in the West. But look what's on the backside of all the coins coming out of Iran. Look at Muawiyah's coin, all the way up from 661 up to 680. On the backside of the silver coins in the East are Zoroastrian fire altars. Nothing to do with Muhammad. Take a look and you'll see. Who is the man we're looking at? Now, I'm just going to introduce him today. I don't have the time because
Okay.
I've really got to zip through this. Because I'm
Okay.
my slides. Iyas ibn Qabisa of Tayyib. This is the Muhammad of the 7th.
Oh, by the way, did you ever heard of this person called Iyas ibn Qabisa of Tayaye?
No, who's this guy?
Exactly, exactly. I've never heard of him in my life. Okay, until Jay mentions this. Yeah.
Iyas ibn Qabisa of Tayyib. He comes from Hira. He comes from the Lach. He's a Lakhmit king. He was a king. He was not poor. When you look to see what we know about him, we now know that he was there in 618. He was the one that joined with the Arabs. When Heraclius came and destroyed the Sassanians, 622 this happens. That's why the year
Oh my
622
God,
is so important.
this person
And
is
he is
totally
the one that is
delusional.
credited with that, with then helping with relationship. I don't have time to go and tell you about yes, that's for another time. But we're now looking at him, we're finding that this is the Muhammad of the 7th century. He's nothing like Muhammad of the 9th century. A completely different man. He's a
Oh
Christian
my
to begin
God.
with.
Oh my God, he's saying that the prophet does not exist, and the real person behind the prophet is actually a person called Iyas ibn Qabisan of Tayaye. But you see,
Yeah.
the problem with this kind of nonsense is that
Yeah.
there are people, there are people. We relate this to the Christian history. Okay, there are people who say that Jesus wasn't real, that that
Yeah.
Jesus was actually a reflection of a person called Apollonius of Tyana. Okay,
Ah.
he's just copying this theory. Okay, he's just applying it to Islam. Okay, I'll show you this page from Wikipedia. Hang on. Okay,
Yeah, sure.
so there's this guy in 4th century BCE. Okay, 4 years before the birth of Jesus. Okay, so called Apollonius of Tyana. So this guy. Okay, can you see the page? Okay, so basically, this guy performed miracles. He traveled around 1st century Palestine. He preached the word of God, etc. He's a Jew, by the way. He's a Jew. He's a philosopher Jew. He's a Jewish philosopher. Okay, so and then he performed miracles apparently, and then preaching the kingdom of God, etc. Okay, he's a sage. Okay, and then has supernatural power. So whatever that this Apollonius does is similar to what Jesus did in the Bible, according to certain people. So are we going to say that Jesus isn't real because there's this guy called Apollonius of Tyana? See,
I don't
so
think
it
he's
doesn't make
making any arguments. He's just making claims.
yeah, he's just making claims. Yeah, exactly. I mean, of course, for as a Muslim, of course, we won't say that this Apollonius of Tyana is a copy of the it's the real Jesus, right? I mean, we
Yeah.
know that Jesus existed, right? So it's not an issue for
Yeah.
us, but for Christians, I think it's a big issue for them. You see,
Yeah.
so you're just applying this kind of nonsense, and then you're trying
Yeah.
to apply it
Oh,
to
by the
Islam.
way, I forgot to mention something.
Yeah.
Can
Okay,
I
go
share
ahead,
the
go ahead.
screen?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
Hold on. Okay. Hold on, let me just set it up. Oh,
Oh, we have 9 viewers. Wow.
nice. Alhamdulillah.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I didn't expect that.
Hold on, let
Brother
me just
Hishamuddin
pull it up.
Abdullah. Assalamualaikum. Waalaikumsalam. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, let me share the screen because Jay Smith just a few minutes ago, didn't he say that Prophet ﷺ is not mentioned in the Quran,
Yes, he
right?
did.
And he
He
says
did.
that there's no mention of like Mecca in the coins.
Yep. Yep.
Well, okay, then let's read. This verse is in 48:24. It says, "And it is He who withheld their hands from you and your hands from them within Mecca."
Mecca. Makkah. There you can see the Arabic also says Makkah. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah, it says
And
Makkah.
hands from
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's in front. Yeah,
within.
yep, yep.
Makkata.
Yeah, Mecca.
Makkah.
So why is it
Okay.
mentioned in Makkah if it's written by Jesus or Abdul Malik or whatever? Where they mention in Makkah? I thought there was nothing in Makkah.
Yeah. Or because he was saying this Ilyas bin Kabatan, whatever, has his base in Petra, right? So why
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
he mention Petra?
yeah, exactly. As a matter of
Why
fact,
must
there's
he? Yeah.
no mention of Petra anywhere.
Anywhere in the Quran, right? Nothing at all. There's nothing
Yeah,
mentioned. Yeah, I don't know where he get his nonsense from. You see? Okay.
there's no
Waalaikumsalam,
historical
brother.
evidence. There's no archaeological evidence. By the
Nope,
way, can I
there
just?
isn't.
Okay, you know what? Let's continue. Let's hear him out, and then
Wow,
I'm
we
gonna
have 10 viewers. 10 viewers.
nice, nice. Yeah.
Wow. Oh,
Let's
okay.
continue with the video, and I
Okay.
wanna finish
Okay.
this up.
Yes, that's sure, sure, sure. Yeah. Okay, give me a moment and then yeah.
Was a Christian Muhammad. His name is Iyas ibn Qabisa. His nickname was Muhammad. And that was his name.
His nickname was Muhammad.
Now, hold on to that. I don't have time to go into this. We'll come back to him. I've already said we can't find anything about the rightly guided caliphs. But now let's
Wait,
look
wait,
at
wait, wait, stop,
Wait,
stop,
wait,
stop,
wait,
stop,
wait, wait,
stop,
wait. What
stop,
did he
stop,
say?
stop,
He
stop,
cannot
stop.
find anything about the rightly guided caliphs. Did he just say
Yeah.
that?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my god, this idiot. Okay.
Hold on.
You want me to repeat this?
that we can't find anything about the rightly guided caliphs.
Okay, there you heard that, right? Okay.
Mhm, mhm. Hold on.
Okay, sure, sure.
There,
I'll share
there's one.
something, right?
There are countless example of this. Hold on, let me just pull them up. As a matter of
He's
fact,
saying
there is one.
so basically he's saying that Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman and Ali does not exist, right?
Yeah. Hold on, let me just. Let
You
me,
know how ridiculous that sounds?
hold on.
Oh my god, I can't believe this old fart is making a fool of himself. Oh my god.
Okay, can you see this? So again, thanks to brother Islamic awareness,
Yeah.
we keep mentioning it, but it's an inscription, and
Okay.
it's dated
Yeah.
to the time of
Yes.
Uthman radhiyallahu anhu,
Murder of
656.
Uthman. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
So
yeah.
if you look at it's in Kufi script. So the translation of the inscription is, "I am Qais, the scribe of Abu Qutair, curse
Curse
of
of God
God on
on
those
those.
who murdered Uthman ibn Affan,
Yep.
those who have led to the killing without mercy."
Yep.
So you can clearly see whoever wrote this was very angry at the killers of Uthman radiallahu anhu, and he
Yep.
wrote this and he cursed them.
Yes. Yes.
He literally cursed them.
Yes.
Clear-cut evidence that the murder of Uthman radiallahu anhu is something that took place.
Yep.
And he's saying that Uthman radiallahu anhu doesn't exist.
Oh my god, this old man is really delusional. If you ask me, totally delusional. Because all the things that he has used against Islam, we could equally apply to Christianity with more devastating effect. Okay,
Yeah.
much more devastating effect. Because the difference is that, like I've said at the beginning of this live stream, we have the Isnad and we have the Kitab al-Rijal and everything, but the Christians do not have that. So their sources are very, very weak. So we apply this methodology that this old fat J. Smith is using upon Christianity. Christianity will fall like a pack of cards. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So anyway, okay, let's continue with the
Yeah. Let's finish. I
video.
think he's at the
Yeah,
end.
it's
Right?
almost at the end. Yeah,
Let-
it's almost at the end.
Let's finish this up and then react to the rap.
Yeah. Yep, of course. Yeah.
But now let's look at the rock inscriptions. The rock inscriptions are almost as good as the coins. We have found 30,000 rock inscriptions. And here's what's interesting. When you look at the rock inscriptions, you will see that none of them, before we get onto that, take a look and see where the rock inscriptions are. They're all up there in the north. They should be down in the bottom part where the Sabbaic script is. All of
Why
these
would they
not
be at the
rock
Sabbaic square? The
inscriptions
Sabbaic
from the
is
7th century up until 690 are all
Let,
using
let's let him finish.
Nabatean
Well,
Aramaic
oh.
languages, which is from Petra. Petra.
yeah.
Have I said
He
that
loves
one?
using that
And
part.
when you
Pause
look
it,
and
pause it,
unpack
pause it,
those
pause
Okay,
it, pause
okay,
it,
all
pause
right,
it.
all right, all right, all right. Okay,
Can you bring the previous slide? Can you go back
okay,
a
sure,
little bit?
sure. Oops,
Okay.
what happened? Oh, okay, there you are.
Okay. So let me
Yep.
share the screen.
Okay, sure, go ahead.
So he says that there's no rock inscription from the south, right? Here's one in Najran.
So the Najran is not in the south, apparently, according to J. Smith. Yeah,
Again, it's in Hijazi script.
yeah.
May God
Okay.
have mercy upon on Yazid bin Abdullah Salud or Jumada in the year 20.
Yeah,
So yeah, yes, we it's
yeah.
absolutely a lie. So yeah,
We have scripts. We have the scripts. Yeah, exactly. So yeah. So you want to continue this again?
but yeah, let's continue.
All right. Okay, hang on.
Aramaic, which is from Petra.
Tutututu.
Have I said that one before?
Yeah, he
And
likes
when you
that.
look and unpack those rock inscriptions,
By the way, can you pause it? I want to make
Yeah,
something.
sure. Go ahead.
Okay, so basically his argument here is that because of this rock inscription, and they're all in the north. By the way, that still doesn't prove anything because people move around.
Yeah,
I don't know what he thinks.
exactly.
He thinks
I
that
don't know.
people are like trees. They only stay in one place. They cannot move, or maybe or something. But anyway,
Yeah.
even if we accept that logic, right? This stupid
Yeah.
logic. Even if we
Yeah.
accept that,
Exactly.
let's use his logic and see what we come up with. Okay, so let me
Yes.
share the screen.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's say that people are only from areas the archaeological evidence that we see in different areas are those places where those
Yeah.
stories come from, right?
Yep.
That's the
Yep.
argument here.
Yeah.
Let's look at the list of all the oldest mosques. Let's see where they're from.
Okay.
Okay, again, Al-Haram, Mecca,
Of course.
Al-Aqsa Mosque, Jerusalem,
Yes.
and the sacred monument and Kuwa Mosque is in Medina. Now, if you look at
Yes.
from the 6th century, all the mosque, it's in Africa.
Yes.
All the mosque, all the early
Yep.
mosque, because the campaigners they went to Africa, right?
Yeah, they went to Africa. Yes, they conquered.
All the early mosques are from Africa.
Yes.
Okay, not a single one in Petra or Jordan. You'll notice this. Not a single one.
Yep.
Again,
Exactly. Tunisia,
Africa.
Algeria,
These are also in Africa.
all
near
Africa. All these are in Africa. Yeah, because of the opening of Egypt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of Northern
And these
Africa.
are in the later stuff.
They're much later.
this-
Yeah, it's much later.
Much later.
Yeah.
And this is from Arab Peninsula,
Nabawi,
6th
yeah,
century.
This is Medina.
Medina,
This,
Mecca, Yemen.
This Mecca. Yeah,
Yemen.
this
Again,
Yemen.
why is there an
Yeah,
early
Yemen.
mosque in Yemen? I thought everything was in north. There's not a single one in Jordan. Not a single one.
None. Not a single one in Petra.
Even in China. They have in China.
Yes.
It's in 6th century.
Yes.
Guangzhou
Yes.
Mosque. 6th century mosque in China. And they
Actually,
don't
I
have
was
a
going
single
to
one.
actually I was going
Yeah.
to say something about that. The early
Yeah.
companions they went to China
Yeah.
to trade with them and to get contact with them. And
Yeah.
the earliest we have early evidence of Chinese scribes talking about Muslims in China. Okay,
Ah.
early
Can you
Muslims.
show
And,
the evidence?
unfortunately, I don't have the picture here with me. Wait, let me see if I can find it. I wanted to show this, but I forgot about this. I think it's called Danger. Wait, let me see. Danger Muslim. Wait, let me check. Danger. Oh dear. Wait, if I can find this. Oh dear. Sorry, Aki. I couldn't find it. I can't find it.
Okay.
I'm
So
sorry, I can't find it.
that's
But,
okay.
but
Can you
anyway,
mention like the book,
yeah.
or something where it's mentioned?
Anyway, anyone, I think, I think anyone can just look it up and just
Okay.
look up for early Muslims in China, and the term that these Chinese scribes used to refer to the Muslims is danger. So these are the early Muslims, and they mentioned Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman. Okay.
Oh,
So that's so the early companion. So they actually had
bro,
contact with the.
you should have
Yeah,
put the
yeah, I know.
picture
I
of
should
the
have. Yeah,
picture.
yeah. It's very strong evidence against Jay, because Jay says that no one knew of the first four khulafa, right? But apparently the Chinese in China knew about them. Okay, so how are you going to explain that? Okay, so
Yeah.
never mind. I hope those who are watching this, they can just go back and do their research. Unfortunately, I don't have it with me. Yeah, but you can look it up. Yeah,
So yeah, you can see that they are in China, the early mosque
Yep.
from 6th century
Yep.
mosque.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, there's one in Bangladesh as well. I don't know. A lot of people don't know this, but I think it's
Yeah.
from 7th century or something. So one of the
I see.
companions, it
I
is
see.
now it is assumed that it is one of the companions who came to
Yep.
trade
Yep.
or tabi'in, and it's
Yep.
a very early
Yep.
mosque.
Yep.
And there's one in India as well. Again,
Yep.
another early mosque.
Definitely. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you can see, like, even in Sri Lanka and other places, 7th century.
Yep.
So not a single one in Petra. There's no
Nope.
mention of Petra.
No
Not a
mention of
single
Petra.
early mosque in Petra or Jordan.
Not in the list. Yeah. Yeah.
All from Syria and where not,
Yeah. Exactly.
Turkey.
Yeah. This nonsense about Petra. I think it was this guy called Dan Gibson, right, who wrote this,
Yeah, yeah.
this book, right? Yeah.
Even in Azerbaijan and Armenia.
Hmm.
So if you look up, the majority of mosques are in Africa, the early mosque.
Yep.
So does it
Yep.
mean that the Prophet was from Africa? There are early mosques in China. Does it mean the Prophet is from China? Was he
And also,
Chinese?
the second question can be asked is, if you say that nobody knew about the first caliphs of Islam, the first four caliphs
Yeah.
of Islam, then who were the Chinese talking to? Because they had
Yeah.
contact with the Khilafah,
Yeah.
the first
And
Khilafah.
who is the guy who's writing the rock inscription? Who is he talking about?
Yeah, he's talking about exactly.
Who is
So,
this Uthman that was murdered?
yeah, who the Uthman was murdered, right? Yeah, I mean, this guy is just
As a matter of fact, it doesn't just use like mention him. It is mention the event, and
exactly.
he's angry at the event, which means it's really
Yes.
something that happened.
Yeah, it's really something that happened, right? Because it shows a lot of emotion there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so anyway, you want to play this video again?
yeah. Let's finish this up.
Okay, yeah, that's
We just
it.
have 100 dated rock inscriptions. Everything we see before 690, none of it referring to anything that we need to know. There's nothing there about Muhammad on any of these
I think the Chinese would disagree with you.
today.
Hmm?
Then we get to the inscription of 741, the Apocalypse of Pseudo-Methodius Continuarch of Byzantia Arabic Tetramo. Remember when Patricia Correa looked at this, he said, this is the first reference we have for Mecca. You don't have any other reference for Mecca. What she didn't read is the rest of the inscription, because the rest of the inscription explains who and where this place was, and it places it way up in southern Turkey. The first Mecca is way up in southern Turkey. I don't have time to get into that. Wait till you see
Hold
what
on,
we
hold on.
Wait
I don't wanna
a
get
minute.
into
Wait a
to
minute.
Petra.
I saw
Don't have
something.
Time to get into that.
Uh,
Wait till you
he's
see what we
Okay, hold
come
on.
back.
I have
I don't wanna-
evidence for this. Hold on.
Wait. He said that the original Mecca was in Turkey, but didn't he also say that
It's
we
in
also
Jordan,
that is
Petra.
Jordan, Petra? Yeah. So
Southern
which is
Turkey.
which is which?
I don't
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, can we
Which is
mention
which?
like, so? What does he say? I can't read it properly because it's too small. Can you read it?
Basically, he's saying. Wait. Let me see. He's saying that the first Mecca is the
No,
home of Abraham, which
the
lies in the
Apocalypse.
desert
No.
between
He mentioned the source, right? Apocalypse of
Apocalypse of Pseudo
Pseudo-Matthias.
Methodist.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So
okay.
I have something to share.
Okay, sure. Go ahead. I'll share it with you, with the audience.
Can you see?
Sure, I'll add it to the stream.
Okay. So let's read about this. What is the
Yeah.
source that it's using?
Yeah.
Written in Syriac in the late 7th century, the Apocalypse of Pseudo-Matthias, shaped and influenced by Christian eschatological thinking in the Middle Ages. So it is written by Christians, falsely attributed.
So basically, it's a polemical work by Christians.
Yeah. So falsely attributed to the Methodists of
Falsely
Olympus.
attributed.
Yeah, no one knows who wrote it.
Yeah,
4th century
exactly.
Church Father. The work attempts to make sense of the Islamic conquest in Near East.
Oh my
The
God! So it's
Apocalypse
a
is
late work.
noted
It's not
for
an early work. It's a late work.
Yeah.
It's a very
So
late
and
work.
that's the funny thing, right? So basically, he
Yeah.
rejects all like Bukhari and whatnot, but accepts
Yeah,
this
Yeah, it serves this, which was written in the late 7th century. Okay.
by
Yeah.
people who have never met Muslims or doesn't know anything about
Exactly,
Islam.
and basically it's a polemical work.
Yeah.
you see.
The Apocalypse is
Yeah.
noted.
And he
for
thinks that this
interpreting-
is a document proving that This guy is a joke, man. He's a real clown. I'm telling you, he's a
Yeah,
real clown.
hold on, and let me share something else. So basically, what he's doing, it's in logic known as. Hold on, let me it's loading. Yeah, appeal to false authority.
Yep.
So basically, it's using an alleged authority as evidence in an argument when the authority is not really an authority on the fact relevant to the argument.
Exactly.
As the audience, allowing an irrelevant authority to add credibility to the claim being made. Also, see appeal to authority. So
Yep.
yeah, he is appealing to a false authority. These Christians,
Yes.
they are not an
Yes.
authority, and
Yeah.
they're basically writing some polemical thing
Basic,
long after,
basically, yeah.
long after
Basically, it's a
Islam.
late work. Basically,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
late
late
work.
work.
It's a polemical late work treatise. Which
Yeah,
has nothing to whatsoever to do with his point.
yeah.
But he's
Also,
using
if
it as
he's willing to
evidence.
accept this, then why isn't he
Yes.
willing to accept like writings of Imam Abu
Bukhari. Yeah.
Hanifa or
Exactly. Exactly.
earlier scholars who are well known?
Exactly.
Their fiqh
Exactly.
work is dated
Exactly.
back to that time, even earlier than that.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So he's
So
rejecting
yeah.
those, but accepting that.
Yeah. So he's picking and choosing whichever he wants. You see.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah.
By the way, Imam Abu Hanifa's work is fiqh. It's a fiqh work, right? It's a
Yeah.
legal
Yes.
work.
Yes. It is. Yeah.
He's an actual authority on this.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah,
So
Time to get into that.
you want me to play again? Continue.
yeah.
Okay.
Wait till you see what we come back. I don't want to get into Petra. Petra is amazing. This will take me another hour, and I just want you to look at this. Look at this map
Petra.
here. Notice everything we know about Petra from Jordan. Take a look and
But
see.
didn't he earlier
There's
say
nothing
that
in Jordan.
it's in Turkey? Yeah, there's nothing in Jordan. But he also didn't he earlier say that the first Mecca was in is in Turkey.
Yeah.
But
So
now
where
he's
is
saying that it's in Petra. Now he's saying it's in
it? Is it
Petra.
in Turkey or is it in Petra?
Yeah, I mean, can you make up your mind, Jay? Please.
Notice where all the trade routes are. Now, one of them goes south. They're all going east and west
Pause
and
it.
north.
Pause it. Can you
Why
pause
is
it?
that
Can you
nothing-
pause it?
Sure.
Hold on. Let me just pull up something.
Okay. Yeah, this Petra nonsense. I think we already dealt with this many times over. Anyway,
Bro,
right?
we slaughtered him in this.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me share
Alhamdulillah.
this. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me share this.
Okay, go ahead.
By the way, I'm genuinely saying this to any fans of like J. Smith. Ask yourself if he can be taken seriously after this live stream. Just ask yourself this. Seriously,
Yeah.
I'm genuinely asking.
Quick
Okay, so
question.
let's take a look at this. Saudi experts set to uncover secrets of ancient trail to Mecca.
Yep.
So this is a very ancient trade route that they found that
Yeah.
that came long before Islam came.
Yep.
So the path was once a common trade route in pre-Islamic era.
Yep.
Pre-Islamic era.
Yep.
So this is a trade route that was used, and archaeologists and historians have confirmed this even before Islam came. And this goes to the Makkah. This is a trade
Yep.
route in going to
Yep.
Makkah.
Yep. It
And
actually
he's-
verifies the Islamic story, the Muslim story, that before Islam came along,
Yeah.
Mecca has always been a trade road, right?
Yeah,
for traders.
Yeah.
It confirms that.
Yeah. So, yeah, and he's saying that there's nothing there. And look at this, and they have
Yeah, look at the evidence.
show all
Oh
the
my God.
evidence.
Yeah, you can look at the evidence, J.
Yeah,
Smith.
you can have a
and
look at the picture.
check it
Hold
out.
on, let me
Yeah.
just show
Yeah.
the picture here.
Yeah.
As you
Yeah.
can see,
Yeah.
they have well.
Yeah, the wells for I guess for travelers.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a lie. It's lying.
Yeah, of course, he's lying.
So there can be two options, right? Either he's stupid, he's so stupid he doesn't know about this, then he shouldn't call himself a scholar, or he's lying. Those are the only two options.
I would say I would like to be generous and call him stupid, but I don't think he's stupid, so I would say it's
No.
the latter.
He's lying.
He's lying. Okay, I would say it's the
He's
latter.
a lying
right?
sack of shit.
Yeah, I wish I could say that he's stupid. Then he would at least
No.
he would be given some leeway.
He
But
maybe.
yeah. But I doubt so, right? Because he has been
Yeah.
involved in this for 20 years plus years.
Yeah.
He can't be
Yeah,
that
you
stupid.
can give
right?
these people any excuse. Like they've been doing this for too long.
Yeah, it's been too long. So it's a lie. He's just lying through his teeth, right?
Is going
Lying,
south. If
using
that's where Muhammad
fallacies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, I'll
If
play the
that's
video.
where
Representing-
Islam began, if that's where civilization began for the Muslims. I don't want to get into this reference here. Let's just go and look at this conclusions. Notice, all the manuscripts, six
He's
to
repeating
nine
this again.
of the earliest
Kira
manuscripts.
thing.
This is not the Kiras. We're talking about the earliest manuscripts. That's the copy of the Samarkand, the Ma'il. All of these great six major manuscripts that we've been talking about for years now, since 2014. Look and see where they come from. They come up from those cities up in the north, not from the south. The Kiras, 22 of the 30
People move
Kiras
around,
come from the
genius.
north, not from the south.
Yeah,
The Quran, the
exactly.
People
State,
take
comes
things
from the north,
around.
not from the south.
Things
The Quran
travel.
Arabic that we look at today comes from the north, not from the south.
People
The
aren't
Qiblas
like
of
trees.
727,
They don't just
all
stay in
Qiblas.
one
Of those
place.
727, we don't have any Qiblas from Mecca or from the south at all. They are
Stupid
all
moronic
from the north. Look at all the Muhammad himself. Ilyas ibn Qabisa, he comes from the north, not from the south. The Iraq inscriptions, all of them come from the north.
Ignore all the
not
early
from south.
mosque.
The year
No way.
622 comes from the north.
No
not
early
from the
mosque
south.
in
The
Petra.
first Mecca comes from
Ignore
the
all
north.
the
I see
rock
that. You
inscription
don't have
that's
to keep it up.
in the south.
And then the conclusion.
All
Yeah.
the trade routes
Here we
that's
go.
going
We're
in the
gonna do it all
south.
in 1 minute. The
Yeah.
sources for everything we know about traditional Islam that they would like to support. come
Quranic
too
Arabic is
far away,
derived from
except
Nabatean
for the
Aramaic.
first canonization, which is impossible to find. The other
Yeah,
four
even if
canons
that's
are
the
too
case,
far
Nabatean
north.
Arabic is used
Quranic
in
Arabic,
pre-Islamic
again, is
times.
too
We
far
have
north.
shown
Yeah.
archaeological
Ash'ari
evidence
letter
of
is
this.
again too late.
Yeah.
The Constitution Medina, much too late. The Doctrine Jacobi is again the wrong time.
Yeah,
Just
we-
because something is
not
late
there,
doesn't mean it's
nor
not
is the
reliable.
inscription in the Dome of the
Yes,
Rock. Coins
exactly,
all support
exactly.
A 7th century archaeological
Fallacies
Well, he
of
could use
fallacies.
the
And
thing is
simultaneously,
he
the
used
front
the
of
fake
traditional
document
9th to
called
10th
I don't know pseudo something whatever to prove that his claims, but turns out that his treatise is totally false. So he can use such a late document, but he cannot accept all these documents.
Yeah.
You see such a hypocrite he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
narrative that David would like to push forward. Ilyas Kabisa is the man I think we're looking for. He is, and I'm going to introduce him as the 7th century Muhammad. I would love you to tell you the story about why he is so great. We can't find any of the four rightly guided caliphs in the 7th century. The rock inscriptions
Yeah, let's
say
ignore
nothing.
all the rock
The-
inscription. Let's
yeah.
ignore Imam
Yeah.
Abu Hanifa,
Yeah,
Imam Ahmed,
let's
Imam
ignore the
Shafi.
Chinese. Let's ignore the
Yeah,
early
the-
Chinese who met with the
Yeah, yeah.
Muslims,
Let's,
the early
let's
Muslims.
ignore
and,
let's ignore the early companions and
Yes,
the tabi'in,
exactly.
the tabi'in,
Exactly.
their writings,
yeah.
their books.
Let's
which-
also forget the fact that the Queen
the
of
early
England was
hadith
a
Muwatta
decent.
Malik, which is dated
yeah,
at the time of
exactly.
the Imam Malik. Let's
exactly.
ignore
exactly. Yeah, let's
Imam
ignore all that.
Islam,
Yeah.
Ahmed,
God of the
Shafi,
Muslims,
all these early
until
writings,
after
early
It's nonsense.
scholars.
They
It's
only
totally
begin to start
nonsense.
showing
Yeah.
a religion that
All
as
the
we
early
know it,
tafsir.
from 720 to 730. We're going to talk about the 741 inscriptions. The first
Final
Mecca
conclusion:
path is
Islam
the
is
southern
really an
Turkey,
Abbasid
far north,
creation.
and everything we know about Petra, the initial sanctuary of the Arabs, which was later replaced by the current Mecca. Therefore, the conclusion. The historical record suggests that most everything we now know of Islam in the 7th century is either too far north or too far away or much too late to be the Islam of the 9th century Islamic traditions. Islam is really an Abbasid creation.
This guy is a
who's
joke, and
clapping?
people are clapping their hands like this. Oh my god! Are they clapping because he's a clown? He's just made them laugh or something? Because this is nothing scholarly about it. I'm clapping because he's a clown. He just amused me. Okay, so I guess it's
Thank you, Doc.
okay. I guess he called himself doctor. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I guess this is it. I guess.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Hold on,
I
let
guess
me.
this it.
I want
Yeah.
to. Can I? Okay. So he talked about minting coins. So this is the last thing I want to share.
Maybe that guy entire circus.
Share screen.
Maybe that guy's an entire circus. Yep, I agree with you. I agree. Penonton lurus bendo. Bukan setakat lurus bendo lagi. Dia bodoh lah. Bodoh apa? Bodoh
Okay, so
bangang.
the Mongol Empire. Can you share the screen?
Okay. All right. Sure.
I actually want to pull this up, but I couldn't find it. But I found it. Okay, so the Mongol Empire. Oh, hold on. This is not the one.
Yeah. Go ahead. Oops. What happened?
The screen.
Okay.
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 So you
Can
see
the
Mongol
screen?
Empire, right? So the Mongol Empire was founded in 1206.
Right.
Here, 1206, right?
Yep. Yep.
Now, when did they first started minting coins and like paper money? Let's take a look at this.
I think far late. Very late.
Upon establishing the unified Mongol Empire, Genghis Khan introduced gold and silver coins called suks,
Yeah.
and later in the year 1227.
Yes.
So this is almost when is it? Calculator. 27 minus
Yeah.
21 years later. Almost 30, nearly 30 years later, they started minting coins.
Yep.
So obviously, when you have an empire, it's not gonna immediately gonna, you know,
Yeah,
start
because this is not
charging
just a
money.
nation. This is not a nation state, right? This is a huge empire. Okay.
Yeah,
In those days, it's a huge empire. You still have to.
Yeah.
Not only do you need to govern people, you also have wars to deal with because you're always constantly fighting to expand the empire. Anyway, yeah,
Yeah.
it's not like now. Now you have nation states, we have United Nations, etc. Right? You have borders and everything. But back then it's different. Back then we are always at constant. The empires are always at constant war, and governance takes a back seat a bit when there's war. You see, so economic issues come much later, right? So it explains it. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. So you want to deal with the rap?
Yeah. Let's do that.
Wait, let me find the rap. Where's? Do you know which minute the rap is?
It's at the very end.
Okay, wait, let me try and find it because I don't want to watch all the rest of his nonsense. Wait, let me play this. Wait.
I'll turn it over to Pastor Joel.
Okay, hang on. Wait.
Call him face to face.
Okay, I found it. Okay.
No, we got it.
Wait, give me a moment.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Okay, I found it.
No, we got it.
Okay, I found it. So let me share the screen. Okay, one more thing. There's a brother here who commented about the Mongols. Mongols busy with war, no time to make money, only looting. Yep, that's true. I don't deny that. Yeah, I mean, like, so it's the same with the Muslim Empire. You see, so we have concerns. When you have concerns of warfare, you don't have time to do minting of coins. So, what is Jay talking about? You see, when he says that there are no early Muslim coins and everything, it doesn't matter whether there were early Muslim coins or not. You see, because Muslims were busy fighting wars as well. Okay. So anyway, I think we are at the end here. Wait, let's play the video.
Yeah,
We got a
let's-
rapper back here.
Yeah.
Veda wants to rap
Yeah.
his poem.
Jay's poem.
I'll give you a beat, son. I don't know if you can rap it.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. So cringe, right? So cringe. This.
We do not know if this is going to work.
It doesn't work. Don't worry. You got the wonder.
So you want me to rap this poem?
You want me to give you a beat?
Hold on, I'll let you know in 12 seconds. So.
You can
The only beat is beating someone's head.
I'm concerned about Jay's flow, is what I'm saying.
All right.
What a circus.
What a
Give me
total
a beat,
joke.
David.
What a total joke.
Give me a beat.
All right, ready?
Ugh, so
Not
cringe.
embarrassing.
Look
y'all.
at Jay. Look at Jay.
We all
how
know
happy.
well Muhammad's name. He's
Oh
been
my
around a while. He lived in Mecca, so we're told the prophets on file. Yet no one saw him face to face, nor heard him speak a word.
By the way, let me
and
pull up
all I
the
know
rap
is
that the
that
brother
is
sent me.
centuries old, and
Okay,
that
sure,
is
sure.
downright
Sure, I'll do that. Hang
absurd.
on.
Here's him. You wrote his
Hang on.
story
Okay,
down.
let me
Lived
pause the
centuries too
video.
late. Bukhari wrote it down,
No,
said
no,
that he lived a
play it.
later
Let's
date.
hear it.
There was just nothing written down.
Okay.
They brought hearsay. And now here's living town 100 miles away. And so it seems it's all made up. Made up. I'ma keep going, say he's made up, and that is what we're told. Resort to your previous views and introduce the mode. They needed an identity different from those before. They had no
Whatever
book.
to
They needed something
David's
more.
beat.
Muhammad was the name that they chose. Mecca was his town.
Did it
Quran was a
disappear
special
like the
book.
Holy Ghost?
First letter sound.
Totally
Yet
out of
they
sync.
said that came from God. It was written down by men who lived in Iraq, far too north, not even from his kin. The final version that they call have not one of the best. He lied and cheated all the time from the rest.
Basically, you're just repeating what he
We
said
gonna
in the
catch the
slides.
beat. I'm gonna keep on going and I'm gonna catch the beat. All right, Arabic, which it would contain from hinges, and that is what he thought. And I know it don't sound like it
It's really
rhymes,
stupid,
but
okay?
he didn't do it right,
It
especially
doesn't.
without thought.
I
So
feel like
where
my
did it
intelligence,
originate?
IQ,
Where
intelligence
did it
dropped a few
come from?
points listening to
Southern
this.
living was his hills to the north. The mosque became their local point. Hold on.
Yeah, is he
I
laughing? Is he laughing to himself or is laughing at the song?
All right, can you pause
Yeah,
this?
okay.
I want
All
to
right. I
share
guess
this
that's
rap
I guess
verse.
the clown act is over. So now let's go to the real show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this brother. Let me just introduce this brother. His name is Carnage.
Better hear Eminem than this guy. Yeah, I agree with you, Aki. I agree with you.
Hey,
Yeah. Eminem
seriously,
is
don't insult Eminem like this.
yeah.
Yes.
Eminem is the rap god. Okay, this guy is
Auzubillah,
nobody.
auzubillah,
Right?
auzubillah,
Yeah.
auzubillah. Street bro. Bro.
Sorry. I mean God as in a small G, okay, not a big G. Okay, yeah. Okay, right.
Okay, so
Okay.
can you see the screen? Okay. Can you see it?
Yep, I can see it. Okay.
Okay, so this brother, his name
All right.
is Carnage. He wrote this rap song
Okay.
in order to diss David and his boyfriend.
Okay.
So basically, it's called Lyrically Molested. It's a response to this rap. Now, again, like the brother and myself, or brother Image, we're not professional rappers, so take this with a
Uh,
grain of salt.
nah, it's okay. It's okay.
So it's just us having fun, and
Yeah.
there's no musical instrument in this. So yeah, let's check it out.
All right.
David and his boyfriend's gonna diss now too, huh? Well, I ain't prejudiced. I don't give a damn. Hi, my name's Carnage, here to perform an autopsy on the dead. It's David Wood and his buddy Jay Smith. However, the question that stands is, how can stupidity outbattle wit? Because if Christianity was a medicine, then I'd call it counterfeit. Please, everyone, wear hazmat suits or anything that comes under the category of protective, because the disease that Jay and Wood spread could be quite infective like COVID. After all, that's what their personalities are, toxic. Islam is the vaccine to Christianity's messed up doctrine. Better stand back because these two are trouble. No, not because of their arguments. Even old age ornaments are more valuable than what these two fools put out in the name of documents and religion. Take the amount of SDs their documents produce and then make it a double. That's what their arguments are, extremely flawed and highly unlikable. How you gonna talk about anything about Islam or call anything absurd when in your own Bible, Lot got raped by his own daughters? And besides, the next time you try to rap David, don't look like a dude trying to talk in a Morse code while having a seizure. You damn rap beat was as good as the crap I do while sitting on the toilet seat. So anyone that came years ago is now, according to you, absurd. I think he just said whatever rhyme and came to his mouth first. If it was a freestyle, then it could have been at least understandable.
Yeah.
But your guy actually took a paper to write it all down, and then in the meanwhile, with a rap, I call his efforts laughable. A
Oh my
disgrace to
God.
hip hop
Yeah.
and rap as a whole. That's breaking the law with what you did. You should get life with no parole. By the way, the next time you get a rapper, make sure it's a real one, not some mumble rapper who wrote down the first thing that made sense to him on a piece of paper. Don't make me go at him entirely, or with the heat I spit, I'll turn him into water vapor. Y'all the idiots should listen and understand how the bars are being spit. If I continue, Christianity will cease to exist, as if its grave wasn't already dug by Jay and David. I hope you don't go around sharing the diss and boast, because you'd embarrass yourself like how David was in his debate with Muhammad Hijab, or like Snell Khan versus Daniel, or like Sabu versus Aaron Ra. If this was a mission in Call of Duty, better pause and do a mission abort. I'm a toaster and you're the bread that I'm a toast. You take your classes from the devil. Explains you're not on an intellectual level. Y'all have an awfully bad habit of taking the truth and have it distorted. This is Carnage here, and you've been lyrically molested.
Oh yeah, brother. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
Not
was a
bad.
rap.
Very good effort. A plus for the effort. Yeah. A plus. Yeah. He deserves an applause.
He did a great job.
Yeah, he
Much
did a
better
good
than the
job.
trash by David and
Well,
Jay.
much better than my own rap.
Yeah. Mine too. Mine too.
Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah. By the way, thanks to brother Carnage. Inshallah, I will put
yes.
the song on my channel.
Yes.
So you guys
Yes.
can check it out.
Okay.
So yeah, that was the rap.
So okay. So you want to conclude this circus, and then
Yeah.
the circus that we was the part for part 1 and part 2, and then I will
Yeah.
give my conclusion as well, and then we can wrap the whole thing up. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so in part one, we've seen David Wood completely failing to make his points. Again, as we saw with like this Christian apologetics, they constantly use fallacies and the ignorance of their audience to make their arguments. Because without these two things, their arguments doesn't work. Because when you actually start researching these topics, you actually realize these people are liars. These are con artists.
Yeah.
And I've known this for a very long time. Like I've been seeing this guy. They've been doing this for years. And and frankly, and the thing is that they think that Christians are stupid. Christians are stupid. Like they're even if they start researching these things and start thinking critically, they will realize how much of a liar they are, and they will hate them for it. They will eventually end up leaving Christianity. So this is gonna bite them in the end. So yeah, as we saw, as we demonstrated in the first stream, David Wood is a liar, and he has no idea what he's talking about. Either he's stupid or he's a liar. Same thing here. Jay Smith, he's constantly lying about the Islamic history, lying about using fallacies. So, and we basically turned them into shred.
I think we shredded them. Yeah.
Yeah, well, completely shredded them. And if after this, if you guys still want to take him seriously, then may Allah guide you. Like after this, I don't think it's even a matter of like, it's a matter of common sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
So
good.
yeah, that's all I have
Yeah.
to say. And thank you, brother Amy and Jeff, for inviting me. Inshallah,
Yeah,
I'll
likewise,
highlight on my channel.
Likewise,
So,
of course,
yeah.
of course, yeah, of course,
Yeah.
yeah. So, my conclusion on this, pretty much similar to what Brother Islamic calling has shared. So basically, in part one, you saw how David tried to play the devil's advocate. He tried to pretend to prove to be on the side of the Muslims, saying that the Prophet existed, but he uses this ridiculous argument. Basically, his whole point was based on this argument called the argument from Pharisee, which itself is argument of embarrassment, which itself is a fallacy, because just because you're
Embarrassment
embarrassed, because just because
doesn't
you're
say anything.
embarrassed, it doesn't say anything, or whether you, I mean, it doesn't mean that maybe in that period, it may not be an embarrassment, but now it's an embarrassment, or vice versa. You see,
It's
so it
completely
doesn't,
subjective.
so it's subjective and it doesn't make any sense. So, and he just uses that point, he just uses that excuse to attack Islam, and all of them are easily refutable, inshallah.
Yeah. Also, we can use that criteria on
Yes.
anything. We can use it on
Exactly.
fictional
Exactly.
characters like Spider-Man, like we talked about. Or
Yep, exactly,
like,
exactly. So by his own argument, his own logic, that means Spider-Man must be real. Okay, so so it's ridiculous, right? And then now in part two, we saw how J. Smith tried to manipulate history, and he tried to he tried to say that Islam is a concocted
basically his main problem
religion.
was using the fallacy of suppressed evidence
Yes, exactly.
and
exactly.
outright lying.
Yep. And he tries to make up the idea
omit
that Islam is
evidence.
a concoction, right? That Islam only came about because of the Abbasids. But there's so many
Cherry
problems
picks.
with that. There's so many problems with that thesis,
Cherry
and
picking
also
is hiding
like
evidence, suppressing evidence.
exactly. And also we have Muslims. We have the Chinese, the early Chinese in China having contact with the early Muslims. So there were actually connections between the first Khulafa, the first four caliphs, with China. Okay, so why didn't he look east and look at the evidence there? I mean, if Islam
we
is
have
the
rock
false,
inscription from like south. He says there's nothing in the
as well.
south. We have
That as well.
archaeological
Yes, of course.
evidence of trains
Archaeological
going to
evidence,
Makkah.
and
We
then
have
the
rock
manuscript,
inscription
and
mentioning
then
the death, murder of Uthman, the murder
exactly.
of Omar radiallahu anhu. And
Yep.
we have rock inscription that's pre-Islamic that talks about Najran and the battle that happened there. Again, it's in Nabatean Aramaic, which apparently didn't exist.
Basically, there's no early mosque in Petra, and yet he's saying that Islam is
There's literally nothing on Petra. There's no mention of Petra.
So from that alone, it's already enough to destroy all his nonsense, because there's no evidence of Islam being from Petra. You see, so all whatever he says about Islam after that is
And
irrelevant.
all the other things he talks about, like for example, this is found in this place, this is found in this place,
and he contradicts
as if
himself.
like
First
people
he said,
don't move around.
First he says that early Islam, the first proto Mecca is found in Turkey. Then after that he says that it's found in Petra. So make up your mind: is it in Petra or is it in Turkey? It can't be in both. You see, it can't be in both places. So
Also, people move around. Like if we go by this logic,
exactly.
we have to say Jesus is from Egypt.
Yeah, exactly.
Because all the manuscript, early New Testament manuscript is from Egypt.
Exactly. Another point is that most of the early Bible manuscripts were written in Greek, but Jesus was a Jew living in first century Palestine. He spoke Aramaic. It's impossible for him to know Greek. So was Jesus actually a Greek? Was he actually from Greece? Because all the earliest manuscripts that we have, we don't have it in Aramaic. We only have it in Greek. Yeah. So and it's impossible for Jesus to know Greek because he's a Jew. He's a Aramaic speaking Jew. So maybe, who knows, maybe Jesus was actually a Greek pretending
Also,
to
like,
be a Jewish person in first century Palestine.
Yeah.
How about that? What a conspiracy theory that is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Yeah.
Also, like, all the, like you said, like, all the early mosque are in
Yeah.
Africa. Is the
Yep.
prophet from Africa? Is he from China? Where is he from?
Where's he from? Exactly. No, the
Like,
circle.
make up your
This
mind, guys.
basically this is a circular argument. You know,
Yeah.
it goes around in circles and there's no end.
And then
right?
all of a sudden he like rejects like the hadith tradition, and then all
Yeah.
of a sudden accepts it, use it as evidence whenever it
Yeah.
suits him. Cherry picks.
Exactly. Cherry picking. Yeah. Cherry picking. Yeah. So totally fallacious. I mean, I think we have successfully refuted the old fart and the psychopath all in
Not
2
just
days.
repeated it, we shared them completely.
Yeah, I think we totally demolished them, inshallah. Right? I hope that
Inshallah.
anyone who's watching this stream can see that these two guys are really fake con artists. Okay. They even fail at being con artists. They can't even lie properly. Okay. Yeah, see? Yeah, they're not consistent in their methodology. So that's the whole point. Okay. Yeah. Right.
Well, yeah, should we end this?
Yeah, I guess we should end this. Yeah. So anyway, thank you very much, guys, for watching this live stream. There's about 6 people right now. Yeah, it's already been 3 hours. The previous part 1 was also 3 hours.
Yeah.
So I guess it's time to end the show anyway. So
Yeah.
thank you very much for watching this live stream together with
Thank you guys
partnership
for
with
joining.
Islamic Calling. Yeah. So anyway, if you like this video, please do not forget to like this video, share this video, tell everyone about this video. Go to brother Islamic Calling's channel. It's Islamic Calling. Okay. And please don't if you want to support me, please don't forget to do
support
become
me
a
on
member.
Patreon.
You can support brother Islamic Calling on Patreon. If you want to support me, you can become a member by joining my YouTube channel membership. The details is scrolling right below this video anyway. So anyway, thank you very much. Inshallah, I'll see you again in a future video.
Oh, by
Hopefully,
the way,
brother,
there's one thing. I'll post all the sources in the comment, in your channel's comment, so people can check them out themselves.
All right, no problem. Okay, I will
you can
do that.
pin it in the comment.
I will pin the comment to the top of the list. All right. Okay. So anyway, I hope inshallah we can collaborate again in the future. Right. Okay. So
inshallah, and maybe we can do another collab on my channel. Inshallah.
Of course. Inshallah, I'm always open to that. So anyway, thank you very much to the viewers. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you again in the future. Yeah.
So.